Hey, y'all. My StreamYard is being stupid again. I don't know why it is not wanting to do what it's supposed to be doing. But hi, guys. Hello, hello. QB is popped in the chat. Hi, QB. We love you. We miss you big. We miss you so much. Hope you can stay for a little bit. If not, I totally understand. Sherry, hey, Sherry. Ready for another day. Hey, Morgana Banana. Hey, Miss Cynthia Boujak. Hey, Miss King. Good morning. Good to see you. I missed you and Patricia yesterday, I think. Hello, lovelies. All right, are we ready to get on to the rest of day 3? Hold on a second. My kids and the dog are being the most. Anyway, let me get this started. So we ended with I forget the woman's name, something Atwood or something. Yesterday? No, I take that back. Poppy, can you hang on just a minute, please? We ended with the girlfriend, Charles's date. That's where we ended. And I watched the rest of it. That's why I said the Atwood chick, I think. But we ended here, the stream yesterday with a girlfriend, and we're going to get back to it. So, I think that's where we ended. Did we end there? Yeah, okay. I get confused. All right, so we're going to get back started where we ended, which was about lunchtime yesterday. We'll probably 1.25 it, and then at 2 p.m. Eastern, in a couple hours, we'll be ready to scooch over to day 4. All right. Hopefully, we play it. We get it just right, like we did yesterday on timing. That was awesome, right? That rarely ever happens. Did anybody catch the Koberger hearing yesterday? That thing was 8.5 hours long. I missed the vast majority of it. Morgana informed me, I think that they've got just about all the jurors in Karen Reed. Any other news? Any other news? Do we have any other news? Morgana, how's Karen Reed looking? How is Karen Reed looking? And I guess they have, they're either on verdict watch or they got a verdict in that Tylee case. I didn't look at that at all. Lots of things happening. Lots of things happening. But daggone, the Koberger hearing was forever long. Gail says, I come in peace. She comes in peace. Not sure, Morgana says, I thought I heard they'll probably start on Tuesday. Okay. So do they have their full jury, or are they still waiting? Are they still waiting? We'll go ahead and get started here. Happy Thursday, everybody. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Dun 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 dun. Choo. Michelle says, hi, peeking in to say hello. Doctor's appointment for mom this afternoon. Colby is going to be in court today watching. Nice. Hey, Ween baby. Yay, caught you. My dumb AWS app ain't notifying me. Well, your phone's stupid. Your phone is stupid. You need to fire it. I'm kidding. Maybe try like unsubscribing and resubscribing. I don't know. Make sure that all notifications is checked. I hate when YouTube does me that way. There's some channels that I know that I'm subscribed to, and I never get notifications for them. I have to physically remember and then go search for it. Michelle says, Morgana, Pepsi's for everyone. So Morgana sent me a Pepsi meme or GIF a while ago. Me and her said something at the same time. And I said, pinch poke, you owe me a Pepsi, because I know she only drinks Pepsi. And she sent me this GIF of somebody like opening a 2-liter up and it spews all in their face. Like a lot of it, like the whole thing. And I laughed and sent her one back of a picture of somebody drowning in like a lake of water. And they're like, as they're going down, their thumb's the only thing that they see above water. Like, thank you. Hi, Genevieve. YouTube says unsub, then refresh, then resub. Okay. Good deal. Thank you for that. Thank you for popping in, and hello, and thank you for the tip there. Maybe try that, Ween Baby, see if it helps. You look every hour. You're not a stalker, are you? Hey, C. Morales. Good morning. Good morning, Shellbell. Hi, guys. Yeah, make sure to hit that thumbs up button on your way in. I would appreciate it if you would do so. It really helps get our little channel out to the YouTube-verse and lets people know that we're over here. We're just sitting over here chilling like villains. Not like Lori Daybell villains, but villains nonetheless, right? All right, here we go. We're going to get started. I'm going to put this is the last half of yesterday. It's more than half. It's about 3/4 of the way through. But this is going to be, we're going to be after lunch from yesterday because we're on the East Coast. So we have to split our days up. And then we'll get through it. And then hopefully at 2 p.m. Eastern, when today's day 4 trial starts, we'll be ready to roll in real time. Okay. Here we go.
All right, we're on the record. State of Arizona versus Daybell, CR 2021-001704. The prosecuting attorney's present. The defendant's present. We'll continue with the cross. Was there something before we bring the jury in?
Nothing from the state.
All right, we'll bring the jury in.
Bring the jury. All right, so we're back to this vicious cross-examination from Lori to Charles's date.
Ms. Hancock, you said that you had seen on TV that my husband had passed away. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you indicated after that you saw my sister-in-law, Kay Woodcock, on that show, and you reached out to her. Is that correct?
I didn't indicate that, but that is correct. I reached out to Kay after I saw that Charles had died.
Okay. And did you do that through Facebook or?
I did.
Social media? Okay. How many times between that first?
Okay, you guys, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to normal speed this because they're both talking too fast for my taste.
Contact and now have you in?
And I want to get the snark in real time. Not real time, but in normal time.
And Kay Woodcock communicated?
I've spoken to her just once. I've texted her here and there regarding, I've texted her here and there about other things. I don't know what I can say.
Okay. How many times have you texted her?
I have no idea.
Like more than 10?
Maybe.
Okay. Have you ever turned over those communications to the state?
No,
Did they ask you for them?
no.
Okay. Did you ever turn over the text conversations you had with my husband to the state?
I was never asked, but I understand that they retrieved them via having them through Charles Vallow.
Okay.
I would have had I been asked.
Okay. Did you turn over any other communications that you had with anyone else regarding this case to the state?
I don't believe I've had any other regarding this case to turn over to anybody, so no.
Okay. How many times have you spoken to this prosecutor?
To Ms. Kay,
Yes, to Ms. Kay.
I met with her once in person and one other phone call, and then just text messages about the logistics of being here today.
Okay.
You know, I'm just thinking about it. This woman seems to be the complete opposite of Lori, right? And so Lori's probably thinking, daggone, I mean, she's pretty. She looks like Wonder Woman from the 1980s. I mean, she's gorgeous, right? Look at this long, dark hair. And I mean, if she looks this good now, what did she look like 5, 6 years ago? You know what I'm saying? Complete opposites, right? See Morales? Yeah. And yeah, I'm just I bet Lori's like, apparently he doesn't like blonde hair or bombshells. Not that you're a bombshell. But I will say that you can tell she's really missing her Botox, right? Her, compared to before all this happened to now, it's obvious she got Botox. I'm just saying. Hey, Miss King says I popped in for a little bit, but work has been super busy for both of us. Okay, well, that's why you weren't here yesterday. I get it. I get it. I would have said, I've never talked to Chad Daybell, your husband. Right, Ween baby? And she's not evil. Kool-Aid lips. God. Rise of Phoenix. Hey, good to see you. Nancy Joe lit Lori up yesterday. Loved every minute of it. I'll tell you, my favorite comment of hers was when she said, when Lori said, you all talked about me during the whole date, and Nancy Joe's like, don't flatter yourself. No. That was pretty cool. Hey, Patricia, good to see you, honey. Good to see you. Ween baby, I love that comment though, because Chad Daybell is your husband, not Charles. Not Charles. Oh my goodness, my sister just texted me and says she's going to get me her vibration plate. Remember, I was talking about the vibration plate the other day? She said would bring it over and drop it off this evening. Yay! I told her I wanted to just borrow it for a couple days to see if it works well for me. And for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, a vibration plate is one of those things that you stand on and it like vibrates, and it's supposed to be really good for like back pain and lymphatic drainage and all the healthy things. So, anyway, I'm super excited because now I get to try it over the weekend. Yay! And if I like it, then I'll buy one. So, all right, we'll get back to it. Yeah, she's not wearing Kool-Aid lips, right, Sherry? Nope. She don't have Kool-Aid lips. No, nope, nope, nope. Hey, Laura, good to see you too. People's popping in. Hi, guys. Hi. All right, we'll get back to it. I'll try to minimize my stopping and starting.
How many text messages would you say?
I have no idea.
Yes, Miss King, I
More
will.
than 10?
I know court was running behind, so she had to text me to come at a different time. Probably
I certainly will.
counting yesterday and today to redo the time, more than 10, yes. Prior than that, probably no.
Okay. Did you have a meeting with her to prepare for this testimony?
I met with her once,
How long was that meeting?
an hour, maybe an hour and a half.
Okay. Was anyone else there?
No?
Have you ever spoken to my brother, Adam?
Yes, but only because I ran into him at my grandson's pickleball tournament the other day.
And how did you know that was him?
Because I've seen him on media via the situation surrounding you.
So you initiated a conversation with him?
I just said hi, and that was, he asked me who my grandson was, and I pointed it out, and that was the end of it.
So you introduced yourself to him? To my brother?
I don't know that I introduced myself, but maybe.
How would he know who you were?
I don't know that he knew who I was. I knew who he was.
So you went up and talked to him?
I did talk with him, yes.
He didn't call you over, so you went up and talked to him?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And when you were talking to him, you told him you were who?
I told him that my name was Nancy Jo Hancock.
And did he recognize that name from something?
Can I go back and change how I met your brother? I forgot this until right now. So on a dating app, your brother's picture came up on my dating app. And I sent him a message and said, but he had a different name that he used, not Adam. And so I just sent him a message and said if he was going to use someone else's pictures, he should probably pick someone different than Adam Cox. That's how I met him.
That's how you met my brother, Adam?
Correct.
Do you know what perjury is?
Absolutely.
I object, Your Honor, to
That's a question.
argumentative harassment.
Argumentative.
Do you know what perjury is? Oh my God, Lori, do you
How long
know
was
what
this
perjury is?
conversation that you had with my brother at the pickleball tournament?
A couple of minutes, maybe less.
And how many times had you communicated with him before that?
Only that message on that dating app. Besides that,
One message, one time?
I don't remember. I think he messaged me back, and it didn't continue.
So just the one day then? Maybe several messages in one day?
I might have sent him one other message, but it was just one interaction, and there was nothing further.
And you did not schedule a date with him?
I did not.
Okay. Have you ever spoken to Brandon Boudreaux?
Yes.
Okay, when?
He attends the same church that my daughter does, and he happened to be at their house briefly, and I didn't really speak to him. I just knew that that's who he was,
And how did you know who he was?
because my daughter told me.
And who did she say he was
Brandon Boudreaux.
in relation to me?
She knows the story, and I know the story, so she just had to tell me that his name was Brandon Boudreaux.
That he was married to my niece? Is that the information that you had?
I know that he was married to your niece, yes.
Okay. Just the association is all I was asking. And you did speak to him that time?
Well, I don't believe I spoke with him.
Okay. But you met him? Or
I don't know that I even met him. I was there, he was there with some other people, and I knew that that's who that was.
So you didn't introduce yourself to him?
I did not.
Okay. Did you speak to any other law enforcement besides Ms. K? Not that she's law enforcement, but did you speak to any other law enforcement about this case or be interviewed?
Yes.
Who? Who did you speak with?
Detective Moffett is who interviewed me. I believe that's, I might have left a message for him. I couldn't tell you who with, but the only one that I spoke to was Detective Moffett, Nathan Moffett.
And when was that interview?
In 2020, I believe in April. A long time ago.
Okay. How long was that interview? About?
It was a telephone interview and it lasted 45 minutes, I'd say.
Is that the only law enforcement that you spoke to besides the prosecutor?
Yes.
And how long between that interview with Detective Moffett and your first communications with Ms. K, how much time passed in between there?
With Trina Kay,
Correct.
I met with her just a month ago, 5 weeks ago, and I gave an interview in 2020, so.
Is that the first communication you had with Ms. K was 5 weeks ago?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Hancock, were you aware at the time of your date that I did not know that my husband was on dating websites and dating women?
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
Were you informed by him that I knew of the situation of us being separated?
Well, he was under the impression you were having an affair, so him moving on was a natural effect from that.
He told you that?
Yes, he did.
Okay. Just to recap, you said that you met my husband Charles, on July 3rd. Is that correct?
Approximately. Give or take a day.
And you went on a date with him on July 10th.
Correct?
So that was what, 7 days later?
Approximately.
So would it be fair to say that you knew my husband for a week?
Approximately.
Okay. And then you had no contact with Charles after that, correct?
Well, he was dead, so clearly I didn't have contact with him.
Okay. And it wasn't until you saw that he had passed away on the news that you reached out to anyone, is that correct?
Correct? I didn't know he was dead.
And that was about 6 months later? Is that correct?
I believe it was December, so July to December is 5 months, I believe.
Okay. And then you found Charles' sister, Kay Woodcock, my sister-in-law, yes?
Objection, asked and answered.
I'm just going over the timeline, Your Honor.
I'll allow it. Go ahead.
So when is the then you're referring to?
So at the 5 months later that you said in December, after that is when you contacted Kay Woodcock?
To express my condolences for her brother passing away and wanted to let her know that I had had dinner with him that last night and how much he loved JJ and how excited he was to see him the next morning. And just
Thank you, that's enough. I'm just recapping here, and you contacted her through Facebook, is that correct?
And again, asked and answered.
I don't think that was actually asked yet. I'll overrule. Go ahead.
yes, as I said before, I contacted her through Facebook.
Okay. And then sent a few text messages, is that correct?
That is
Yeah.
correct.
This is recap of everything we've already
Right.
gone through.
And then you said you met with police on April 22nd, 2020, is that correct?
I didn't say April 22nd. I said I believed it was sometime in April.
Okay,
And I didn't meet with them. It was a telephone interview.
okay. And that was around 1 year after my husband passed away, is that correct?
Well, July to April would be 10 months, so.
No more questions, Your Honor?
All right, redirect.
Thank you.
That was painful. That was painful.
You, did you reach out to the police, or did the police reach out to you after you learned Charles was?
I reached out to the police. I was surprised, given that if they'd seen his phone, they would see the text communication that we had had, and that we had been at dinner that night before he died.
In terms of speaking with Charles's family, Kay Woodcock, did you know her before this?
No.
Had you heard her name through speaking with Charles?
Yes, from Charles. I knew that he had changed his life insurance to his sister Kay, and he talked quite a bit about Kay and his love for her and the relationship with JJ and how that they had adopted JJ.
So you understood the closeness he had with his sister,
Absolutely.
and you said you reached out to pay your condolences.
I did.
When you learned that Charles was dead, were you shocked?
I was watching the TV and it was talking about a case, and his picture came on the screen, and shocked is an understatement, yes.
In terms of talking with Kay, have you ever tried to talk to other people to learn about or verify if the stuff that Charles told you was accurate?
No.
Is what you are telling us just what he told you?
What I'm telling you is part of what he told me. There's a lot more.
And did you tell the police all of what he told you? That you could remember at that time, I should say.
I believe, no, I thought I would probably be interviewed again, and it was more an ask-answer format. There was, I remember being surprised that I wasn't interviewed again.
Okay. Because Charles had shared so much with you.
Correct.
In terms of the defendant's brother, Adam, did you ever talk with him about the case?
No.
Through media, did you recognize him?
I recognized him because I'd seen him on reports. And I knew that he was going to be testifying in this hearing.
When did you see him? When was this interaction
Like
at this pickleball?
a week and a half ago.
So a week and a half ago, when you see him at a pickleball tournament with your grandkid, you say hi to him?
Basically.
You don't talk at all about the case?
We might have talked about that we were testifying. I don't know. No details for sure.
Okay.
Just a general, and then he saw who my grandson was, and the end.
So nothing about, hey, I'm going to say this, or Charles
absolute-
told me this?
Absolutely not.
When you and I met, did we go through your testimony? Or let me get this straight. Did we go through what you told the police?
Yeah.
Did I indicate to you to just tell the truth,
You told me to tell the truth,
whatever that was?
whatever that was.
You were asked about the fact that you knew Charles for basically a week, right?
Correct.
Did he make an impression on you?
Charles was a large personality. It would be hard not to be impressed by his wit and just gregarious, big personality with his Southern accent.
You were asked a lot on cross about you dating a married man.
Correct.
What was your impression of where this relationship was between Charles and Lori Vallow when you and Charles started talking?
Well, I knew that they had separated and that they had reconciled, and I knew he had filed, and then he had recanted that. But he also had met with an attorney to begin the process again, and was very emphatic that he was done with all the craziness.
And was that last time something that you understood to be very recent?
Prior to us meeting?
Yeah.
Yes.
When he's talking to you, he's telling you about, you said, sort of the whole year of 2019, correct? But this last understanding that you had of him now going back to a divorce lawyer, was that something you understood to be very recent in time to that July 10th when you're meeting?
Correct.
Okay. And did you understand him to have even met with an attorney?
I believe he told me that, yes.
So that was where you were at,
Yes.
and that's what you understood Charles to be at.
Yes, and I will say, after having dinner with him, I did tell him that no one would want to be serious with him until he was further along in accomplishing that divorce that he was in the process of, including myself.
So even though you knew he was just barely starting now, did you still want to meet with him again?
Yeah, I wouldn't have entertained a serious relationship, but he was fun, and yeah, I would have met with him again.
All right. I have no other questions, Your Honor.
Are there any questions for this witness from the jury? I see at least one question coming down. I think we have our white noise, our
The
headsets.
jury asked questions?
Yep.
She's like, the jury asked questions? Ah. That was funny. For a minute, she was like, wait, what? The judge is like, yeah. All right, let me scooch past because I think that this is like quiet for quite a few minutes. Hold on.
And
Okay.
ever expressed to you verbally any indications of stress?
Definitely, he was very worried that
That, I think we'll just keep it with a yes/no answer for this question. Does the defense have follow-up based on that juror question?
Absolutely. I've seen several trials where the jury gets to ask questions. They just have to be filtered through the judge.
Does the defendant have follow-up based on that juror question?
Oh, no, Your Honor.
All right, state.
Before they're
All
allowed
right,
to be
you can step
asked.
down, thank you.
Thank you.
I think the first time
State can call its next witness.
the first time I saw that happen was in the taking care of Maya. That Maya Kowalski, who was suing the Johns Hopkins Children's or whatever hospital. Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital. J. Hatch. They did in Letitia's. Okay. Yeah, that's true. They did. They just wanted money. All this nonsense was over money. The religious crap was just for show. I believe that too. I believe Lori just wanted money and power and I don't even know. Okay, so we're doing a little bit of a sidebar here. Okay.
Jury is. All right, please be seated. We're back on the record. The jury is present. The state can call its next witness.
Okay, I'm gonna go get her. State calls Christina Atwood.
All right, ma'am, you're going to come right up here in front of me and be sworn in.
Please sign your name for the record. Thank you. Please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear that testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole
Mr.
truth, and
Potato
nothing
Head.
but the truth,
I
so
love
help you
that.
God.
All right, you're going to have a seat just over here to my left.
Mr. Potato Head.
Would you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Christina Atwood.
How old are you, Christina?
I'm 52.
And if you can get just a little closer, you're very soft to the,
52.
thank you. I know nobody wants to say that loud. Do you live here in Arizona?
Yes.
Did you live?
When I heard this, when I heard the prosecutor say that yesterday, because like I said, after the trial, after we closed the stream, I went into the kitchen and was like cleaning up and getting ready for, dinner and all that kind of stuff. And I had kept it playing. And whenever the prosecutor said this, I was like, ma'am, maybe she's proud of her 52. Don't be age shaming her.
Live here in Arizona in 2019?
I did.
Are you from here?
Not originally.
How long have you been in Arizona?
2009.
I know, Ween Baby.
I want to start by asking you a little bit about some personal part of your life. Are you a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints?
Yes,
Were you raised in that religion?
I was.
As a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, did you ever meet Lori Vallow?
I did.
Do you recall sort of where you first met her? Start with that.
At church.
I bet
And
she
do you
wishes she
recall
hadn't.
approximately when you first met her?
We moved into that area in 2010, and I'm not sure if their family was there at that time or not. But
Sometime after that?
yes,
And did you know her husband, Charles Vallow?
yes,
Was that also through church?
yes.
Did you initially, well, let me start. Did you know they were married?
Yes.
Did you have more contact with one over the other?
More with Lori than with Charles.
And why was that?
My sons and husband had interaction with Lori through the primary program, and I didn't have much interaction with her before they moved to Hawaii. But when her and Charles had moved to Hawaii, we went on a trip and we stopped to visit, and Charles was not at home. And so we interacted with Lori on that trip.
Okay. Do you see Lori Vallow at that time in the courtroom today?
I'm sorry, what was that?
See Lori Vallow in the courtroom today?
Yes.
And can you point her out and identify what she's wearing?
Purple top and suit coat, dark suit coat.
Your Honor, may the record reflect the witnesses identified the defendant.
It shall.
Okay, so you told us that you met Lori and Charles through the church. Do you know how long you went to church with them before they moved to Hawaii?
I don't recall what year they moved, but I know that we moved to the area in 2010 and we went and visited in 2015.
Okay. And that's, you visited them in
Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Yes.
Other than that, well, let me ask you, when you visited Lori in Hawaii, were her kids there with her? That you said they lived there, right?
Yes.
Okay, so did you know at that time how many children were living with Lori and Charles?
2,
And who were they?
JJ and Tylee. I don't know if Tylee was there that weekend. She may have been gone. It might have just been JJ.
But you were familiar with them having those 2 children?
Yes.
Residing with them? Is
Oh,
that-
and I also had known her son before they moved to Hawaii, was in our ward as well. But
and-
he wasn't living in Hawaii, I don't believe.
That was, do you know if that was Colby?
Yes,
Was he a son from a prior marriage?
yes.
Did you know any of Charles's children from a prior marriage?
No.
When you went to Hawaii and saw Lori and JJ, how long did you spend a day or weeks? How long were you visiting them?
We visited on a Sunday afternoon for an hour or 2, and then sometime in that week, we got together for a couple of hours on the ocean, just paddleboarding, and that was it.
Had you had social interactions with Lori and Charles prior to going to Hawaii?
Not anything of other than waving or saying hello or something, no.
So mostly it would have been prior to that tied to any church activities or
Right.
things like that?
Correct.
Did you at some point learn that Lori and Charles had moved back to Arizona?
Yes.
How did you learn that?
I'm not positive if it was that I ran into them in the temple, because I recall one time seeing them both at the temple.
Okay. And do you recall if that was around 2018?
Yes.
When you said you ran into them, you're saying both Charles and Lori you saw at the temple.
Yes.
And so you learned they're back in Arizona at this point. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you ever have Lori ask you to go with her to Hawaii?
Yes, she did invite me.
Do you recall when that was?
I believe it was the fall or late summer of 2018, but I'm not positive.
Do you recall ever do you remember being interviewed by the police?
Yes.
And were you interviewed by a couple different detectives?
Yes.
In April of 2021, do you remember speaking with a detective, Ron Ball?
Yes.
And do you remember telling him that sort of the beginning of the year of 2019 is when Lori asked you if you wanted to go to Hawaii?
Could have been, yep,
Does that sound familiar to you?
yes.
Did she tell you why she wanted to go to Hawaii?
No, I don't recall.
Let me ask you this. When you spoke with the police back in 2020, was your memory better at that point about all of what
For
was going
sure.
on? Now that it's 2025, has your memory faded as to some of the details?
Yes,
Would listening to a portion of your interview about that help potentially refresh your recollection?
yes.
And Your Honor, if I can have my paralegal go up with Exhibit 282.
Go ahead.
If you can just listen to this portion and see if that refreshes your recollection as to why Lori was asking you to go to Hawaii and when.
Hey, folks. I'm going to be away from my computer for a couple minutes. I have a kiddo situation that requires my attention. So I know that they go on a long sidebar. I don't know if that's what they're currently doing right now or not, but just wanted you to know. Everything's fine. She just needs some assistance from me. Everything good, everything good. This lady probably peaked in high school. Same with Lori. Baby, you crack me up. Okay, I'll be right back.
Was that you talking to the detective about this sort of time period in January where Lori's asking you to go to Hawaii and there's a lot of things going on there?
Yes, I recall that. I actually remembered the invitation being prior to that, and what I was referring to there was something else.
Okay. So there was a prior time you had gone to Hawaii to see Lori and a prior invite, correct?
No, I'd just gone in 2015 with my family.
Okay.
That's the only time
That you went there with?
that I went there, yes.
Okay. So having listened to that recording, did it refresh your recollection about Lori inviting you to Hawaii in sort of the January of 2019 period?
Yes, but I didn't say there that I was invited to go, and I thought that that was previous to that time, but at some point in either the fall or the spring there, I thought it was the fall, winter, she invited me to go to Hawaii,
Okay.
and I wasn't able to go.
When, well, let me ask you, so in January of 2019, did Lori reach out to you about some things that were going on in her life?
Yes,
Did she talk to you about her marriage?
she shared that she was upset with Charles.
And did she indicate whether or not she was still living with him?
She had indicated that she was not with him at the time.
Did she indicate that she had gone to Hawaii?
Yes,
And did she indicate that she was not telling anyone that she was there?
she indicated that she was keeping it, that there wasn't very many people she was sharing it with, yes.
Okay. Did she indicate that Charles was back in Texas?
Yes,
Did she indicate that Charles had JJ with him in Texas?
yes,
Did she indicate that her daughter Tylee was staying with her brother Alex?
yes,
Did she indicate that Charles had tried to take her temple recommend away, and this was one of the reasons she left?
yes.
And was it her, did she tell you that she didn't want Charles to know where she was?
I don't recall.
So if you had said that to the police back in April of 2021, would your memory have been better back
For
then?
sure.
Do you contest that you told the police back then that she was trying to make sure that Charles didn't know where she was?
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
Would you, if you had told the police back in April of 2021 that Lori told you she didn't want Charles to know where she was, would you have been truthful back then?
For
telling
sure,
them that?
yes.
Okay. Do you know how long she stayed in Hawaii?
I don't.
Did you ever become aware of her going to Idaho as well?
No, not until December of 2019.
Do you know how long she stayed, how long she didn't let Charles know where she was?
I don't recall.
At some point, did you learn she was back in Arizona?
Yes,
And did she reach out to you to invite you to any groups?
yes.
Do you recall approximately when the first time it was that you met with her in some group format in 2019?
I believe it was spring 2019, maybe February.
And do you recall, were there other people at that meeting?
Yes,
Do you recall who was there?
yes.
Who was it?
Zulema, Melanie Gibb, Nicole Earl, and Serena Sharp.
Okay. who organized that? Or who invited you? Let me ask that. Did Lori invite you, or did one of these other women invite you?
I don't recall.
Do you recall whose house it was at?
It was at Zulema's.
Okay. And did you know at that time if Lori and Charles were still separated?
Could you say that again?
Did you know at this meeting if Lori and Charles were still separated, living in different homes?
Yes, I believe so.
Did you know who was caring for JJ at that time?
Yes, I believe she was at Alex's.
JJ?
Oh, sorry, JJ. I believe JJ was in Texas.
Still with Charles? Mm-hmm. And that's a yes?
Yes,
And then you said Tylee was still staying with her uncle Alex?
yes.
Did you know where Lori was living at that time?
With Alex.
Had you met these other women prior to this meeting in February-ish of 2019?
The only other person that I knew was Nicole Earl.
Okay. So this was the first time you were meeting the person whose house it was at, Zulema?
Correct,
The first time that you were meeting Melanie Gibb?
correct,
And the first time, you said Serena, is that Serena Sharp?
correct.
Was there anything that Lori said at this meeting in February-ish of 2019 that she said about Charles that stood out to you?
She was concerned about dark spirits plaguing him.
Did she in fact tell you that he was possessed by dark spirits?
I don't recall.
Did you recall talking to the police, again, back in April of 2021, and advising them that this is the first time you're hearing that Charles is possessed?
If I said it then yes.
When you were meeting on this weekend, or this weekend, what do you remember about this group meeting? Was it a night, a weekend? How was that?
It was an evening. We may have met twice in the evening that weekend.
Did you know where Serena was from? Like, did she live locally?
She did not. She was visiting from out of state.
When you were meeting at these in February of 2019, do you recall telling police that Lori was talking about Charles being dark or having a dark spirit?
Yes,
And do you recall saying that he was possessed and she had a name for who he was possessed by?
sorry, can you say that one more time?
Sure. Do you recall telling the police that he was possessed and she had a name for who he was possessed by?
I don't recall, but believe that I said it.
Would listening to your recording help refresh your recollection as to that?
Yes.
Your Honor, if we can have her listen to Exhibit 200.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. They did, I forgot to mention, they don't turn the audio back on for quite a while. So, yes, but we miss a lot of her testimony. They don't turn it on for quite some time. Now it's on. Let me fast forward it. Here we go.
Lori talking about Serena in a way that also disturbed you.
Yes.
What do you recall of that?
It was just very negative, and that she didn't believe that Serena was going to be good after all, something to that effect.
Okay. So prior to that meeting, Serena had been at the meeting at Zulema's house,
Yes, just the one.
and she had been on a Zoom meeting maybe?
Yes.
That's scary, Gail.
And then this meeting in June, she was not. And at that point, Lori seemed to be talking negative of her.
Correct.
When you
Right, Ween baby.
talked to Lori about these statements that you had heard Alex say and her say on the 9th,
I'm not sure, Ween baby. on
did
the-
you continue to
Rosales.
meet up with Lori after that?
No.
Did Lori ever invite you to any more of these gatherings or prayers?
I was invited one time to go for lunch.
When was that?
I believe August.
So between June and August, you did not receive any other invitations?
No.
Did you at some point learn that Charles had been killed?
Yes.
How did you learn that?
I received a text message that he'd been killed.
And who did you think had killed Charles?
Originally, when I received the message, I believed it was a brother-in-law of his. And so it was some time before I realized that Alex had been involved.
Okay. So initially, you had said when you met with Lori, that you would go to the police, but when you learned Charles was killed, your understanding was it was someone else.
Correct.
So when you learned it was Alex, what was going through your head then?
I had somebody who had visited with Lori about it and had said that,
Without going into their hearsay, let me just
Okay.
ask you this. Had you spoken to someone who was passing along information to you of what they understood had happened?
yes,
Okay. The shooting of Charles by Alex was about a month after you had heard him say he wanted to kill Charles, correct?
yes.
Did you feel like after you confronted Lori that she distanced herself from you?
Yes.
Did that seem to be the same as what you heard and saw happening with Serena?
I don't know.
Okay. On the 9th, you had heard Lori talking negative about Serena, correct?
Yes.
And she hadn't been invited to that meeting.
She lived out of state, so it wasn't surprised that she wasn't invited.
Had she flown in for a previous meeting, though?
Yes,
So,
just the one, the initial one.
in terms of your interactions with Lori, did she ever tell you that she was joking about her husband being possessed?
No,
Did she ever tell you she was joking about him having this dark spirit inhabiting him?
no,
And did she ever, you told us that she told you there was a name for this spirit that you don't recall now, correct?
Yes.
Did she ever tell you she was joking about that?
No.
No other questions. Thank you.
All right, cross.
Oh, wow.
No
baby.
questions, Your Honor.
Are there any questions for this witness from the jury? Not seeing any. Ma'am, you can step down.
I hadn't heard that.
Okay, sidebar.
I had not heard that. Okay, they're getting ready to leave for the day, so. Let me, we actually timed it way early, huh? We timed it way early today. Let me go find, hold on, day number 4, today's. Open. All right. Okay. I had not heard about that. Mayor Myra. Let's see if I can look it up. Okay. Lord, this is an old case, huh? It's an old case, it looks like. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Looks like she's lost like 800 pounds. Wowzers. Hold on, I'll look at this real quick. Let me. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, guys. Here, let me pause that and then share this. Hold on just a minute. So this is who you're talking about. It says Myra, who weighs 1,100 pounds, originally confessed to accidentally rolling over on top of the child and killing him. I haven't heard of this. Oh, I know, Morgana, right? The people out in front of the courthouse. Miss King says, who lost 800 pounds? So Ween Baby was talking about this case of this woman who confessed to killing her nephew, but she weighed like 800 pounds or 1,000 pounds. And she said they didn't know how to get her to trial and stuff. They were going to bring in a bed because she was bedbound. She confessed to cover for her sister, and some good detectives figured out there was no way she could have done it while bedbound. She was covering for her. Okay. People watching is fun, right? So this is like from 12 years ago on HLN.
I want to go to Sergio Valdez, Mayra's defense attorney. I know you began to have your doubts as to whether your client was really guilty. And did she actually testify from her bed? Because sometimes I'm reading some of these case documents and it's hard to.
So this is totally like one of those Dr. Now cases. I love My 600-Pound Life. I love that show. So stupid much. I love that show. And yeah, it said like 12 or 10, 12, 14 years ago. But it said she's lost like 800 pounds. Crazy.
Believe some of the stuff in this case. Was she literally in her bed testifying? And what did she ultimately say?
Well, Jane, initially what happened is we had a video conference with the courtroom because we could not get her to the courtroom. The courtroom's on the second floor, and there was no way to get her into the 92nd District Courtroom here in Hidalgo County in South Texas. And so her initial appearance before the court was via teleconference, and it was from her bed where she was at her house.
And what did she ultimately say? Did you help her tell the truth ultimately? Because my understanding is that her sister actually went on the run.
That just blows my mind. That blows my mind.
Around the time that she testified.
What initially happened is that Myra's perspective, somebody mentioned codependence. And Myra's perspective was that she was going to die anyway, and that she had no quality of life and didn't know how much longer she was going to be around. So from her standpoint, she wanted her other nephews and nieces to have a mother, and so she decided to accept responsibility and cover up for her sister. And she did that for as long as she could tolerate her sister's continued abuse of the other children.
Oh
and
my
at
goodness.
some point, she just said, enough is enough. I've given her a chance. She's not making the best of it, and so I'm going to come out with the truth. But we knew something was wrong from the very beginning. We went to visit Myra, and when she...
Okay, so the sister, when the sister unalived the child, was it an accident or was it like, what happened?
Told us how it is that she wrote in her statement that the incident occurred. We knew it couldn't be. It just wasn't true.
You're Myra's attorney. How soon did you confront her and say, come on, honey, you didn't really do this. Tell me the truth.
Well, I'll tell you what, within weeks of getting her statement, in her statement, she said she leaned over the bed, that her nephew was under the bed. She lost her balance and essentially fell on her nephew. And so what we did with Myra on one of the visits was we said, Myra, we're going to go ahead and have you reenact that so that we can put you on the edge of the bed. You can go ahead and show us how it is that you went over the edge of the bed. And more importantly, show us how you got up after you went over the bed. And once we went through that exercise of telling her what we were going to do, she basically just broke down and started crying. And we knew that something was wrong, that it didn't happen the way she wrote in her statement. And we knew that something was wrong. And we knew that she was covering up for somebody. It just took us some time to get there.
Wow.
Here's the breaking news. You won't believe this. Okay, she was one.
Wow. Hey, baby. That's crazy.
1,100 pounds at the time that she falsely confessed to killing her nephew. She has since, I almost wish we had a drum roll, lost 700 pounds. And she is now 400 pounds. So she has lost 2/3 of her body weight. Sergio, you're her attorney. How the heck did she do that?
Pure will. Once she got past the covering up for her sister, once she realized that she had a purpose in life, that, you know, she got past this, I have no life. And she just had the willpower. And she's been up in Houston for about a year now. She's undergone extreme diets. She's undergone many surgeries. She is walking with the assistance of a walker, and she's undergoing some therapy. But all I can say is great for Myra, great for her will. And it's nice to know that she is walking with a walker and will soon be rid of that walker and on her own.
Well, good for her. Goodness gracious. That's awful. I mean, I'm glad that she lost a bunch of weight, you know. They showed some after pictures. Let me go see if I can find that. Darn. Do 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 do. Oh, here, hold on. This is here, let's take a look at this. Anderson Cooper. This is her. This is the same woman.
Myra, are you in touch with your sister now? I mean, do you still want to have a relationship with her?
I just received a letter from her. We haven't been in touch. She just wrote to me, and she does say she is sorry, and if I can please forgive her.
Do you?
I haven't answered. I did forgive her. I don't have nothing against her, and maybe.
Wait, Myra, you don't have. Myra,
it may seem wrong.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying you don't have anything
But
against
I
her.
love
She
her.
killed your nephew.
Yes, but she's still my sister, and I love her. And I think what I read, she's really taking responsibility of her actions, and she's getting the help she needs.
Myra, you seem very sad.
Wow. Now this video was, let me see, 12 years ago as well. So, I wonder though if she had like weight loss surgery in addition to whatever, you know, I would think she would have, right? Maybe not. I don't know. I mean, people can lose all kinds of weight if they want to. Hi, Gina. Been a busy morning running grandkids to dentist and school, but finally able to sit down. Yay! Hi. Well, the only thing that you really missed that was good was the rest of the Nancy Joe testimony, cross-examination from Lori. Right now, I'm waiting on them to come back for day 4 to start the trial day 4. But Ween Baby had mentioned this case about this woman from, well, I don't know where she's from originally, but she here is in Houston. She weighed 1,100 pounds and confessed to killing her nephew by rolling over on him and suffocating him. And come to find out, she didn't do it at all. She was covering for her sister. Oh, her lawyer said she had had surgeries. Okay. I must have missed that part. Yeah. But then ended up telling the truth, and she's lost like 700 or 800 pounds.
And I'm just wondering, what do you hope for yourself moving forward? What do what's your goal?
I want to go back to my family, to my husband, and be healthy and begin working again, and participating in family events and back into social life.
Well, Myra, I hope you get there, and we wish you the best. You've come a long way in this, and I appreciate you being with us today. And Sergio, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Very pretty girl. That's so sad. Yeah, that's where Dr. Now is. That's why I kind of wonder if that's where she's at. I know, Ween Baby. I know. I know it. It does well for a lot of people. And then other people say that it didn't work for them, I know. I know. All right. I'm going to get back over here. Click the live button. I love Dr. Now. I love him. I don't know, Brenda. I know that Cherie, Bubbles' Crafty Corner, or is it Crafty Corner? Where is Cherie anyway? Bubbles. Cherie. She has said that she does really well on it, so. Ween Baby said they all look sickly. So I think that the problem is that they end up not getting enough. No, Miss King, they haven't yet. They start every day at 2 p.m. Eastern, which is 11 a.m. in Arizona. But Ween Baby, I think that the reason why is because they end up not getting enough nutrition. But I've struggled back and forth with whether or not to take it. I mean, currently I'm doing Weight Watchers again, and I am down 10 pounds, 11, 10, 11 pounds, so that's good. Yeah, they say that you lose muscle, you have to be very careful. But the thing is they have to make sure that they're eating enough protein and all that kind of stuff. Okay, will do. Bum, bum, bum. I want to follow this chick for Karen Reed. Okay, good deal. Okay, thank you, Morgana. Well, Michelle, they say that it's actually not new. It's been around since like the 80s or something. But used for other things, not weight loss specific. They all look like they've aged 10 years. Well, part of that, though, is I will say this. I will say, when someone loses a lot of weight, they do look older because their skin, there's less fat, so their skin is droopier, you know? But I know what you're saying. Like the hair and skin are dull and they just didn't look good. I don't know how someone could sustain that either. What happens when you stop taking it? When you stop taking it, if you haven't completely figured out how to portion control and stay within a calorie deficit, you'll gain it right back. Latanya Wow says, I'm 5 years post gastric bypass. Good for you. Good for you. Thank you, Cynthia. Morgana, they're talking about the Ozempic and all those like GLP-1 medications and Wegovy and semaglutide, all those different ones. So I know I've got a girlfriend who had the weight loss surgery, and she had to go in several years later and have a revision done because she had the sleeve and the sleeve like slipped, or the band, and the band slipped and was like, they had to go in and they ended up taking the band out and then just doing a bypass or what, I don't remember. I don't know the exact terms, but anyway, I know she struggles with getting enough, you know, of her macros, like enough of the protein, enough of the calories, enough fiber, enough, you know, all of the things that she has to have. And you know, you can only fit so much in there without feeling sick, and it's hard to get all of that in. That's why I think a lot of people really work on using the like the shakes and the supplements and that kind of stuff. Yes, Miss King. Miss King said, I think with whatever you do, you have to fix the brain because I've seen weight gain after surgery and medication. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Margaret, you made it. Hello. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hello. Hmm. Well, we have about 15 minutes before things start. Morgana, what are you doing, ma'am? Are you busy, Morgana? Do you want to come up and give us a Karen Reed update? I have a Rue and what is that? From a botched gallbladder surgery, and that is similar to the gastric bypass, just higher up. I've never heard of that before. Oh, baby. Oh, wow. Thank you. She seems to be feeling, kiddo seems to be feeling better today. Mm. It's a bariatric surgery. My friend's mom had that. Okay. It worked for her for a long time. Okay. What? Ooh, yummy. Thank you. Oh, I'm not supposed to drink it? I have to put them on? Okay. Okay, hold on. Hold on. She's being extra, extra. Extra, extra. Here. Now mommy's got two. Bucka, 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 bucka. Yeah, and mommy has two moms. Well, hi, Bluey. Bluey's Bluey's. Mm. Oh, hey, Donnie, you're at the airport? Oh, that's right. You're going to Tennessee this weekend, right? Oh, Tennessee. I can't remember. Where did you say you were going? Nashville? Gatlinburg? Where? Lean Baby said my father-in-law basically had a bypass because he had stomach cancer. They removed 85% of his stomach. Wow. Oh my goodness, Michelle. They stapled your intestines accidentally. Oh, wow. You were pregnant? Holy crap. Goodness gracious. Lord have mercy. Oh, here, Morgana. I'll drop it here. Copy. Here you go, Morgana Banana. Let me turn the echo cancellation off so that it won't echo whenever you come up. Wayne Baby wanted to go to Pigeon Forge the first week of May. I love Tennessee. Oh my God, Michelle, when you delivered the baby, you weighed 88 pounds. That is crazy. Lord have mercy. Right, Miss King? That's terrible. Did the doctor get charged with malpractice? God. Donnie said, OMG, my earbud just went on and I heard stapled to the intestine. Donnie, are you on your way to where at in Tennessee? I forget where you said you were going. Was it Nashville? Michelle said, oh, yeah, but it took 10 years and the lawyers took 2/3 of it. They settled and didn't ask us first. Ooh. Now, see, that's not right. That is not right. Oh, Morgana's here. Hi, friend.
Hey, hey, I was muted. I was trying to find the button.
How are you?
I'm okay. How's everybody? You doing good, Jenny?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Good. Hi, chat. So I guess they've got enough jurors, but it sounded like they were going to try to get a couple extra. I don't know. I guess in case they have to get rid of somebody. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a longer trial too, so they'll probably like to have a few extras on hand.
Yeah. And I think they're supposed to start, if everything goes as planned, I think opening statements on Tuesday because they don't have court Monday.
Of course they don't.
Yeah, of course not. Already starting that way. And she was telling all the jurors, like, okay, and we're going to be here every day. And then in the next breath, she's like, oh, but there will be some half days. And I'm thinking, yeah, okay, Bev, sure.
God, she kills me.
I don't know. That's going to be interesting.
So, did we ever figure out why they're not going to allow Colin to take the stand?
Because Bev won't allow it, but I don't know if there was a real reason. She acted like he had nothing, he wasn't there at the time, blah, blah, blah. But do we really know that?
Well, I mean, I thought he kind of was there at the time.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, but I don't know.
Oh, Donnie said, I think the Boston Marathon is Monday.
Oh, that could be it too. Might be the reason.
Was you listening to Michelle talking about her situation in the chat?
Oh, yeah. I can't believe that. I was like, oh, no. That's bad.
She said, yes, Gina, I was half in and out and heard them discussing funeral plans.
What? Ugh. She woke up fast. Your eyes really popped open then, didn't they, Michelle?
Oh, my God. Ma'am.
Yeah.
Can we have a group hug for Michelle?
No doubt.
Let's have a group hug. Goodness.
That's horrible.
That is horrible. That sounds like, oh my God. No.
Yeah, I agree, Miss King. She is, definitely.
Yeah.
And then, have you watched the Richard Allen interrogation videos?
Yeah, I have. I actually want to, over the weekend, I want to stream. I've been wanting to stream them, but with the Lori Vallow stuff going on. And then I was going to do it yesterday. I was going to make another stream last night after the trial, Daybell trial ended, but
Right.
kiddo was not
Yeah.
feeling the best yesterday, so I ended up not. But did you
Right.
see the video I put at the very end of yesterday's stream?
Mm, I'm trying to remember. I don't
It's the
think so.
down the hill
No.
voice
I didn't see it.
comparison.
Oh, no, I didn't see it. I'll have to go
Yeah.
back. I think I got cut off a stream for some reason. Something happened at the very end. So maybe I just didn't see when you put it in there.
Mhm. I'll share it again here in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, Donnie
Yeah.
wants to know how much did the baby weigh, Michelle?
4 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man. He's fine now, she said. That was
Yeah,
32
said it
years
was
ago.
32 years ago, but still. What, baby?
Yeah. Traumatizing. Ugh.
Mhm. Miss King said, I saw some of those. I don't know what I think. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Here, I'll play it real quick for you, Morgana, and
Okay.
we'll see what your thoughts are. Hold on, let me. Now, what I did was, in the first interrogation video of his,
Mm-hmm.
about 25, 30 minutes into the interrogation,
Yeah.
he says the words down the hill, but he's talking about where he parked or something
Right.
like
Right.
that.
Mm-hmm.
And I took that little section. You want the whole bag? What do you want, kiddo? I took I took that little snippet
Yeah.
of him saying that, and then I took the snippet of the
Yeah.
down the
Yeah.
hill girl
Mm-hmm.
or guys down the hill part, right?
Right.
And then I've like put them side by side, and it's ended up being like a 5-second clip.
Uh-huh.
And I put it on loop, so it played it over and over and over, so you could compare it. So I'll play it. I'll play it for you guys and see what you
All
think.
right.
But I'll loop it. I'll loop it so it plays it over and over for
Right.
a few seconds.
If you go down a hill, 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 if you go down a hill,
Okay. That was it.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like they said before, they really don't have enough of a clip to really, I mean, on the down the hill video or, on the phone from the girls,
Mm-hmm.
all the experts say there's not enough there to go by as far as, proof of who it is or comparing. They said there's just not enough. But I don't know. I really feel like from seeing the interrogation videos and just all the stuff, everything cumulative, I find it hard to believe that it's him.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion,
Yeah.
I don't know. And those videos, the interrogation videos really, really pushed me over.
Yeah. That's how I feel too. And there was some things that he said in the jail calls that even though they were confessions, there were other times he's like, if I did it, or what it, if so.
But everybody's got to realize how traumatizing that had to be. That whole prison solitary confinement, and the drugs, we don't know what they were giving him for sure and how much they were messing with that. But there's two things. The first is if I had done that, what he's being accused of doing, there's no way I'd go and tell somebody I was there, right? I wouldn't
Right.
voluntarily go to the police and say, "Oh, I was there,"
Mm-hmm.
you know. And the second thing is, there's no way, unless you are having some kind of mental break, would I ever eat feces, my own feces, or anybody
No.
else's feces for that matter.
Right. Right.
But you can't tell me that a sane person it could even just do it just to, try to look crazy.
Right. Right.
I don't understand. I don't get that.
Yeah. And I remember hearing Bob from Defense Diaries say that he was like hitting his head on the wall for so long that his head was
Yeah.
literally bleeding and
Yeah.
raw, like raw meat on his
Mhm.
forehead from banging his head on the wall.
But I mean, those videos, he never once, there wasn't like, I'm nervous, I'm, the interrogation things. There was nothing that, it was just constant. I didn't do it. I can't tell you I did something or I can't tell you something about something I didn't do.
Mhm.
I just,
He was adamant and he
yes,
never wavered from
no,
it.
never.
Ween
And they
baby,
just,
there was written documentation that he did from, I don't remember if it was guards or if it was
yeah.
like the therapist or what, but
And smearing it all over himself, apparently.
I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, I think you should play those or something. Like if you can do it.
Yeah, I want to do it. I just want to. It's probably gonna have to be split because
Yeah.
the calls aren't awfully long. The calls are very short, but the interrogation videos are probably at least 3 hours for the couple of them, at
Right.
least.
And if you stop anywhere in there to discuss anything, then
But I'm sure I will. I won't be
yeah,
able to not.
yeah,
Right.
exactly. Right. I'm talking through the whole thing. Whenever I was watching, I'm like, oh, going off on it.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
it's scary because it's scary to think that could be any of us, too.
Yeah, I know.
Are we
I
back
know,
on?
right? It did, but we're good for a couple minutes. I'm just blown away that, like Patricia said, that there was pretty much zero transparency.
Right.
Zero.
Mhm. And why is that? If it was such a, they kept making it to him like, oh, we have all this evidence against you. They didn't have anything.
Mm-hmm.
They had the bullet, they said, and I don't believe that is even a science that, it wasn't a fired bullet.
Mm-mm.
So, what else did they have? And his confessions.
That's
That,
it.
that he was in solitary confinement for how long, and
Mm-hmm.
all these people around him, and that the psychiatrist or psychologist or whatever she was
Mm-hmm.
that was into the true crime stuff anyway.
The Dr. Walla.
Yeah. Was in all these like Defense Diaries chat and everything.
Mm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Convenient.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just makes me angry.
Yeah. Yep, it does me too.
Between that and Karen Reed, my head's about ready to explode.
I don't
Then
know.
throw in Lori craziness that she is. Oh,
This is crazy.
I just about can't with her anymore.
Yeah. She's a lot to handle. But I don't know what I'll do as far as keeping up. Now, Morgana did send, thank you, Morgana. She sent me a link to an account on Twitter. You want to tell them about that?
Well, I just happened to see her and I went and because I wasn't following her, but she's in the courtroom. So she's been in there for the Karen Reed, when they're picking the jury, and she's telling all about, the courtroom, what it looks like and all that. It was just kind of interesting. So I don't know. I thought it may be something if anybody wanted to follow that. She was talking about Bev had on her stilettos today. Did she say black strappy stilettos or something?
Bev?
I think that's what she said because she came out past them.
Well, I can't imagine Bev being a black strappy stiletto wearing
Let me see if I can find what it said.
I mean, when I look at Bev, I completely see Bev as I don't know, somebody that wears like Skechers. Don't get me wrong, I love my Skechers. I'm a Skecher wearer. Don't think that I'm like shaming Skechers. I love my Skechers, but that's what I see her being, a person wearing Skechers, not strappy stilettos.
Well, she was talking about somebody coming in to the courthouse with Uggs on, Ugg boots, and maybe it was Bev, and then later she saw her with the stilettos. I'm not sure.
Patricia said maybe it was right after she got her bangs cut and she was feeling herself.
Sassy. Sassy Bev. Oh. I was laughing when I read that, though.
Ween Baby said the slip-on Skechers with no laces, just the rubbery things, right? Yeah.
Whatever's comfortable.
I'm sure she does, Donnie. She probably walked in her Uggs and had her strappy heels on to switch out, that's what I would have done.
I wouldn't have had the strappy heels anyway, but yeah.
Well, yeah, no. No, me either.
I might have had house slippers on back there.
Give me my little unicorn sock booties.
She'd flip them all out if she came out walking with those on.
Right. Or the big floppy house shoes with the like big ears and the googly eyes.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's probably what she has at home.
Mm-hmm.
Crocs. Yeah, I wear Crocs especially the Croc flip-flops. I wear those a lot in the summer.
I don't think I've ever had a pair of the actual Croc brand flip-flops. Like the kind between your toes flip-flops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have 2 pair of those.
Yeah, I don't have any of those, but I used to love to wear Crocs, but now I can't. They just
They
I don't know. No, they don't hurt my feet. They're actually very comfortable, but my feet sweat so much in them.
Oh, yeah.
And then, like, I'm outside a lot in the summertime, and, like, the inside of them will get dirty, and then my sweat mixes with the dust and dirt that gets inside the Crocs.
Yeah.
And then it's like the bottoms of my feet get grody too quick. And I'm like,
right.
I'm like having to 3 or 4 times having to wash the bottoms of my feet off during the day.
That's why you get the flip-flops.
Yeah.
Then you get the air. You don't sweat so good.
Bangs cut, nails did, stilettos on. That's why she had to leave early one of those days, right?
Yeah, for sure. Did you see Michelle? My stilettos are for bed use only, she said.
Oh, my God.
I'm not even using them in there, Michelle. Forget it.
They have nubbies that massage your feet.
Yeah, those kind of hurt my feet, to be honest. The little bumps on the bottom sometimes. Depends on which Crocs I have on, but.
Oh, Patricia says, I'm going to a wedding soon. I'm heavily considering buying the cute heeled Crocs. I've seen those. Those are cute, though.
Yeah. I had a pair of those. They weren't just like plain flip-flops with the little straps, but they had like a strap over the top of I can't explain it. It goes over the top of your feet and it had holes in it, like all these holes.
Like slides, just slides.
Well, kind of like a mix between a flip flop and a slide, if that makes any sense. It was more like a
Okay.
triangle shape on top of your foot.
Okay.
But they were Crocs, and I wore those things for years until the actual, like the flip flop, where it attaches to the shoe,
Mm-hmm.
where it goes between your toes, where that thing pulled out actually, because
Yeah.
I've worn them for so long. But
Mm-hmm.
they were the best things ever, and they were
I had,
cute. They were more dressy.
yeah, I had a little pair of Crocs that were the like Mary Jane style,
Uh-huh.
and those were really cute.
Yeah. They've got some cute shoes, really.
Mm-hmm. What
No, it
baby?
really wasn't a mule, Michelle. It was more like I said, more a flip-flop type, but just had more rubber part on the top. I don't know how to explain it.
Mm,
Not just the little strap.
yeah.
Covered like the top of your foot more, but with a flip-flop thing in between your toes. That makes sense. Whatever. Laura, the days of heels and sexy underwear are over for me. Yeah. They never start for me very much.
All right. Well,
Okay.
I'm
Well,
gonna
I'm
go
gonna
ahead and
hop
get started.
Okay, I'm hopping down. See, I'll be in chat.
All right. Love ya. Thank you for the info and
Yep.
hanging out.
I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, honey. Oh, it was good to have Morgana on. It was good to have Morgana on. Ween Baby's going to a wedding too and looking for some dressy Crocs. Wow. Ween Baby and Patricia, you guys need to go shop together. Oh, okay.
Planning purposes, Judge Kemp, who does his morning calendar in this courtroom, is dark on Monday and Tuesday. Do the parties discuss off the record?
Hold on, I'm trying to find the right spot where they get started. Now we're on to day 4. Today's. Yeah, Brenda, when they say that they're dark, that means that they it's funny that they say that during this trial too, because, you know, the whole Vallow Daybell dark light stuff. But anyway, when they say they're dark, that means that they're not available. Funny though, right? I bet when Lori heard that, her eyes jerked up like, oh, he's dark? Really? What scale is he? Well, what number is he dark?
Okay. I think sometimes though, when they put on the All right, we're on the record. State of Arizona versus Vallow Daybell, CR 2021-001704. For planning purposes, Judge Kemp, who does his morning calendar in this courtroom, is dark on Monday and Tuesday. Do the parties council, advisory council, does anyone have an issue starting at 10 a.m. on Monday and Tuesday?
No, Your Honor.
Advisory council?
Monday and Tuesday at just 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so for advising your witnesses, we'll plan on starting at 10 a.m. on Monday and Tuesday. Is there anything we need to discuss before the jury comes in?
Not that I'm aware of, Your Honor.
All right. Do you want to? All right, we're ready for the jury. Okay. While we're waiting for those jurors, can I have everyone come up to the bench? And I just want to discuss off the record potential scheduling for the second trial. The jury is present. The state can call its next witness.
Thank you. If I may go get it.
All right. Sir, come on up. You're going to stand right here and be sworn in.
Please spell your name. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes. All right, you're going to walk around the court reporter here. Have a seat to my left.
Sir, would you please introduce yourself to the jury?
My name is Adam Cox.
How old are you, Adam?
I just turned 56.
And what do you currently do for a living or for?
Ooh, okay. This is Adam Cox. This is Lori and Alex's other brother.
Life.
I'm a pro pickleball player and instructor.
Where are you living now? Just what state?
I live in Arizona.
Back in July of 2019, where were you living?
Wichita, Kansas.
Okay. Prior to your pickleball career, did you have a different career?
I did.
What was that?
I was a radio morning show host.
Okay. Is that why you were in Wichita?
Yes.
Did that make you travel a lot?
Yes.
So I want to talk to you about your family first, okay?
Okay.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Southern California.
Okay. Do you have any siblings?
Yes.
How many?
5. Or
And-
4 siblings.
Can you tell us the names of the 5 siblings you had growing up?
Stacy, Alex, Lori, and Summer.
For Alex, did people refer to him as Al sometimes?
Yes.
And for Summer, did people call her Sum?
Yes.
Were your sisters Lori and Summer close?
Yes.
I want to ask you about another family member. Back in 2019, Melanie Boudreaux. How is she related to your family?
Melanie is my oldest sister, Stacy's daughter, so she's my niece.
And was your sister Lori close with Melanie?
Yes.
Do you see your sister Lori in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Can you point her out and tell us what she's wearing?
She's sitting there wearing black blazer.
And may the record reflect the witnesses identified the defendant.
It shall.
In July of 2019, was your sister married?
Yes.
Who was she married to?
Charles Vallow.
And so in July of 2019, was your sister known as Lori Vallow?
Yes.
Do you know approximately how long Lori and Charles were married?
I think over 10 years.
Okay. Do you know if your sister, since the passing of Charles, married Chad Daybell?
Yes.
Did Lori, your sister Lori, have any children from prior marriages before she and Charles got together?
Yes.
And who were those?
Colby and Tylee.
Okay. And were they from the same marriage?
No.
By July of 2019, was Colby an adult?
Yes.
Do you have a son, Zach?
Yes.
Did your son Zach ever live with Lori and Charles for a bit?
Yes.
Did he move in there after Colby moved out?
Yes.
In July of 2019, was Lori's other daughter, Tylee, still under the age of 18?
Yes.
Do you know whether or not Charles helped raise Colby and Tylee?
Yes.
Did you know if Charles had any children from prior marriage?
Yes.
Do you know if do you know how many children he had from a prior marriage?
I think 2.
Okay. And do you know if either of those 2 children lived with Lori or Charles?
Visited. I don't know if they ever lived there.
Okay. Did Lori and Charles have any kids together?
JJ?
Was JJ adopted? Okay. So did they adopt him together?
Yes.
Okay. So in 2019, did Lori and Charles have just JJ and Tylee as their kids living with them?
Yes.
Did Lori and Charles always live in Arizona?
No.
Where else did you know them to live?
Texas and Hawaii.
Okay. We had talked about your brother Alex, or Al. Were you close with your brother Alex?
Somewhat.
Do you know where Alex was living in July of 2019? What state?
Arizona.
And can you describe your brother Alex's relationship with your sister Lori? Were they close?
I mean, I don't know if close is the word I would use growing up, but
Describe
just
for us.
normal brother-sister relationship, I guess.
As they became adults, did they continue to be close, or what do you recall of their relationship?
Yeah, over the last, I guess 4 or 5 years.
The last 4 or 5 years between them was what?
They were closer, they were close for like a year and a half, is what I remember.
Before this happened?
Yeah, they became oddly close for a while.
How about the relationship between Charles and Alex? Do you recall what that was like?
Just a normal brother-in-law relationship, I guess.
Did you ever know them to do things just the 2 of them?
No, I don't have any knowledge of that.
Okay. Did your family sort of do a lot of big family events where everyone might be together?
Yes, yeah,
Birthday meals, holidays?
yes.
Adam, did you grow up a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints?
Yes.
And are you still a member of that?
Yes.
At some point, was your brother Alex excommunicated?
Yes.
Do you recall when that was?
I think he was excommunicated twice. So I'm not sure the dates or when that happened, but when he was an adult.
In 2019, was he still excommunicated to your knowledge?
Yes.
What does that mean to be excommunicated?
It means that you do certain things to where the church, it takes away your membership from the church.
Are you able to go to temple if you're excommunicated?
No.
Is that important?
Going to the church in our faith is important, yes.
Let's talk about your relationship with Charles Vallow. Did you and Charles ever text?
Yes.
Did you and Charles ever talk on the phone?
Yes.
When Lori and Charles were married, were you aware that Charles would pay for things for the family, like cell phones?
Yeah, I heard that there's people in our family that they're on his business cell plan.
Or car insurance?
Don't know about car insurance, but
You knew about the cell phones.
yeah.
Did you know what Charles did for a living?
Yes.
What was it?
He sold insurance.
Okay. Did you know what kind of insurance?
No, he explained it one time, but he was doing something with school teachers or helping them with their situation.
Okay. Did you know whether or not Charles traveled a lot for work?
Yes.
Was he traveling to other states?
Yes.
And was that sort of throughout his marriage with Lori?
Yes.
Okay. Were you aware of whether or not your sister Lori worked prior to marrying Charles?
Yes.
Do you know what kind of work she did?
She was a hairstylist.
Okay. After she married Charles, did she continue to work outside the home?
At a hair salon?
Yeah.
No, not that I know of.
Was it your understanding Charles worked so she could take care of the children?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
So you were unaware of her doing any sort of outside work like she had done prior to being married to him?
Yeah, I don't know any of that.
At some point, did you learn or become aware of the fact that Lori and Charles were having some marital problems?
Yes.
Just yes or no, did you ever talk to Charles about why he and Lori were having marital problems?
Yes.
You yourself personally, were you aware of Lori having any beliefs that were outside of what is accepted by the LDS religion?
Yes.
Can you tell us what you were aware of that you knew to be outside the LDS religion?
Lori told me that she was in the process of translating from a mortal human being to an immortal human being, a celestial state.
That's something that the LDS religion supports?
I haven't heard of it that it's happened here on Earth yet.
Did you ever hear her talking about being married to someone that is relevant in your religion?
Yes, I have heard that.
Did she tell that to you?
I don't know. I can't recall her telling me that, but I remember other people telling me that.
Okay. Was there anything else that you recall her telling you that she believed that seemed outside the LDS religion?
Yes. There was a time where she told me that she had more priesthood authority than the priesthood.
And why, can you explain for us what that means, why that was significant to you?
In our religion, the men hold the priesthood, and she said that she's in a state where she's above that.
Okay.
I didn't quite understand it, but very strange.
Did you confront her about these beliefs?
Confront her? No.
Did you discuss with her about these beliefs?
I just let her say what she wanted to say.
Was there ever a conversation where, when she was telling you these things, where she asked if you thought she was crazy?
Yes.
And how did you respond to that?
I said, I don't know if you're crazy, but what you're telling me is not true. It's not real.
After you said that, what happened to your relationship with Lori?
She stopped talking to me.
Okay. Were you ever aware of Lori believing that people could be dark or possessed by evil spirits?
I later have learned that, yes.
Did you ever try to tell your family about the beliefs that Lori had expressed to you?
Yes.
What was your family's reaction?
One of the reaction was, she's in a delusion, let her do whatever she's doing and she'll come out of it at some point.
How did this impact your relationship with your family when you're bringing up these concerns about Lori?
They basically cut me off.
So you bringing up your concerns about Lori's beliefs being at odds with the LDS religion sort of terminated your good relationship with your family?
Yes.
At the end of June of 2019, do you recall Charles sending you some emails that were purportedly written by him asking Chad Daybell to come out to Arizona and write a book for him?
Yes.
And did you, without going into it, did you review that email?
Yes.
Did you know Charles, what he had done in his life prior to selling insurance?
Yeah, I know that he played minor league baseball.
And in this email was the person pretending to be Charles asking about writing a book about his career?
Yes.
Was that something you knew Charles was not interested in?
No, he's not, or wasn't.
After you saw those emails that Charles had forwarded to you, where someone was reaching out to Chad, were they inviting Chad out to Arizona?
Yes.
After reading that and getting that forward and talking with Charles, did you believe that Lori was having an affair with Chad Daybell?
Yes.
Did you and Charles spend time talking about that?
Yes.
Was he kind of, I guess, in a tailspin? I'm not sure the best words to say from learning that.
Yeah, he seemed a little desperate.
Did Charles have some idea on how he thought he might be able to get Lori back into the LDS faith?
Yes.
What did you understand that to be?
Charles just thought that Lori was going overboard and that she was going to the temple like 5 times a week, and that's not normal in our religion, and that she was going a little off the wall. So he figured that if she got her temple recommend taken away from her, that she would come back to normal, who she was before she started in all this things that she was believing.
Now, you told us that you had heard yourself some ideas by Lori that were outside the LDS religion. Did Charles also tell you about other things that she had told him?
Yes.
Okay. And so, did you talk with Charles about something that we'll term an intervention?
Yes.
What did you mean by an intervention?
Intervention means Charles he's kind of desperate because nobody in our family would talk to him. I'm sure that, Lori had told people in our family not to talk to him. So he thought that, having an intervention would be getting in front of her, recording her, giving it to the stake president, or having the stake president hear what she was talking about and hear the crazy things that she was saying.
So the intervention was part of the way to try to get her to come back to the mainstream LDS beliefs.
Yes.
Did Charles ask you to help him with this intervention?
Yes, he did.
Did you guys have a specific plan, like on X date at X time, we're going to do this?
No.
Had you talked to Charles about potentially going to Lori's and recording her on your phone?
Yes.
Did you talk to Charles and text him about another idea of having a family dinner and again recording her so that you could play that for the stake president?
Yes.
We're using a term there, stake president. Who is that? What is that in your religion?
Well, in our religion, we have our churches organized to where we have wards, and then a bigger, like 4 or 5 wards are in a stake, and then there's a president of the stake, and so it's somebody who's in charge of everybody in the stake.
Okay. So someone that's pretty high up in the church.
Yes, yeah.
And so the idea was to bring any of these recordings to show she's saying these things to his attention.
Yes.
Okay. And again, the point of that whole was to just try to take away her temple recommend.
Yes.
So on July 9th of 2019, did Charles talk to you about him flying you out so that you can help him with this intervention?
Yes, he did.
And did he offer to purchase your flight
Yes.
to bring you to Arizona?
Yes.
At that time, did your parents live here in Arizona?
Yes, they did.
At that time, was Lori here in Arizona?
Yes, she was.
And you told us your brother Alex was living here as well at that time?
Yes.
Was your sister Summer also living here at that time?
Yes.
And after Charles purchased your tickets, did you reach out to anyone in your family to ask if you could stay with them?
Yes.
Who did you reach out to?
Alex, my brother.
And did he offer to let you stay with him?
Yes, he did.
Were you supposed to fly in on the next day, July 10th?
Yes.
So your understanding was when you flew in on the 10th, you'd reach out to Alex and you'd spend the night there?
Yes.
Did you end up staying with him?
No, I did not.
So when you landed in Phoenix on July 10th of 2019, do you recall what time of the day it was approximately?
Sometime around lunch.
Okay. And did you reach out to Alex?
Yes, I texted him as soon as I landed.
Did you get a text response back?
Be
No,
safe,
I did not.
Donnie.
Was
Be
that
safe.
unusual?
Yes.
I miss Michelle's
She's expecting
comment.
you, right?
Yes.
Did you try calling him?
Yes, I did.
Did he answer your phone?
No, he did not.
Again, was that unusual to you?
Yes.
Here's the black one.
Did you think anything was odd at that time?
Yeah, at first I was like, he can't be that busy. He knows I'm coming.
Did Alex ever respond to you on the 10th?
No.
So he ghosted you.
Yes.
What did you think when you didn't hear back from Alex?
I just thought it was very strange and bizarre.
Okay. So you were supposed to be staying at Alex's. When you talked to him on the 9th, did Alex ever text you between when you guys talked and when you landed saying, I'm going to go stay at Lori's?
No.
Did Alex ever call or text you and tell you,
shoot, Mama
you know,
didn't
I can't have you stay with me. I know I initially said okay, but not anymore.
No.
So he just ignored you.
Yes.
Where'd you end up staying?
My mom and dad's house.
Okay. On July 10th, did you understand Charles was also flying into Phoenix?
Yes.
Did you see Charles on the 10th?
No, I did not.
Did you see your sister Lori on the 10th?
No, I did not.
So you told us you stayed with your parents. What did you do on the 10th?
They picked me up and we went to lunch. And then we just, I think, hung out at the house.
And you said your son Zach lived here at the time?
Yes.
Who was he living with at that time?
I think he was living with my mom and dad.
Okay. So although you didn't talk with Charles on the 10th, did you have an understanding of what he was going to do the morning of the 11th?
Yes.
What was that?
He was going to go pick up JJ, his son. It was his turn to, I guess, have him for a few days or whatever.
Were Charles and JJ really close?
Yes.
So the morning of July 11th, you were not expecting to get together with Charles at 7 in the morning, right?
No.
Did you get a text message from Charles?
Yes, I did.
And did you learn where Alex was?
Yes, I did.
Where did you learn Alex was?
Alex was at Lori's house.
Goodness gracious, baby.
When you learned this, was Charles texting you sort of in real time as he is coming to the house,
Yes.
explaining to you what he's seeing and what's going on?
Yes.
And are you responding back to him?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
So you're at your mom and dad's house when you start getting these text messages from Charles?
Go get
Yes.
something to drink, baby. Here.
When you learned that Alex was at your sister's, what were you thinking?
I just thought something weird is happening because he never answered my text the whole day I was there, never returned a call. And then all of a sudden, he said he's at Lori's house. And I didn't even know what to think at that point. I thought something was off.
Easter.
So immediately you knew something was off.
Yeah.
From the prior day where Alex ghosted you to now he's at your sister's that morning when Charles was going over to pick up JJ.
Yes.
Mommy can't hardly open it.
Were you concerned that Alex was at your sister's house?
A little concerning, yes.
Have you seen text messages that you and your brother-in-law Charles had sort of making the flight reservations and leading up to
Here's some little
the morning of
stickers.
the 11th?
Yes.
And were those all messages that you two had
some stickers.
as you're trying to figure out how to have this
Easter
intervention?
peeps.
Yes.
And then ultimately, what you are seeing and saying that
Color?
morning at 7:30 in the morning?
Yes.
You want to take it in there and use your pencils? Okay. There, go use your pencils on that one color. Color one.
And I've shown defendant Exhibit 210, if I can have paralegal approach with that. Adam, if you can take a look at those and let me know if you recognize those as text messages that you had with Charles, sort of the 9th, 10th, and 11th, as you are interacting leading up to that morning and including the morning of the 11th.
Yes.
Your Honor, the state will move to admit Exhibit 210 pursuant to 8031 as present sense impressions.
Yes, Your Honor, we object in lieu of that is a report and not the full extraction.
Sticker proud. Put it on the door. Let's
All
watch
right,
how it
well,
sticks.
may I see that particular objection wouldn't be
Here, give it to Mom.
wouldn't prohibit admission, it would go toward weight, but give me a second here.
Yeah, you got googly eyes.
All right. I'll admit 210.
And if I may publish it, then, Your Honor. If I could have the album, thank you. Adam, I'm going to start sort of going back to, in Exhibit 210, the conversations that you and Charles were having as you're trying to come up with a way to have this intervention, all right? So you learned that Charles was reaching out. Well, let me ask you this. You had learned from Charles about this fictitious email, correct?
Yes.
Did you learn that Charles had reached out to Lori about it?
One more time?
Did you learn that Charles had reached out to Lori about this email?
Yes.
Did you learn that he had reached out to Chad Daybell's wife about it?
I think I remember that.
These are text messages. Were you also receiving emails from Charles?
Yes.
Does this sort of array of messages start to involve where you and Charles are talking about having you come out to Arizona to help with this intervention?
Yes.
And so do we see on the 9th, you letting him know that you could fly out tomorrow and come home Saturday or Sunday?
Yes.
Do we see, as you continued on, he tells you that he could fly you in on Southwest, and he's telling you he's just right now landing in LA, right?
Yes.
And you knew he traveled a lot for work.
Yes.
When we get to the 9th at 9:11 a.m., did you get a message from Charles about how you were going to get everyone together without Lori knowing that you're going to have this intervention?
Yes.
And is that one of the ideas where you indicated that I'll go see Lori at her house and have a talk with her and keep your phone on record?
Yes.
So that was sort of one idea of a potential way to show the stake president that she was having these ideas outside the LDS faith?
Yes.
Does Charles kind of tell you he's not sure that that's really going to work?
Yeah.
He says, I think she'll leave, but it's worth a try.
Yeah.
Did you then suggest also have a family dinner with everyone? And then say, always leave my phone on to record what I say and what everyone else says?
Yes.
And then you go on to say that's to have proof for Holmes. Who's Holmes?
President Holmes, he was our stake president, or their stake president.
You were in Wichita, but he was the stake president here.
I lived here before, and he was in my ward, so I know him.
So when you're talking about the stake president, Holmes is who it actually is?
Yes.
Okay. On the 9th, Does Charles tell you that, got it, but honestly, if you, Zach, Brandon, and me go to him, that should be enough? She will feel like we ambushed her, but something has to be done. She'll be real careful what she says. What? What, had you brought Brandon into this yet? Like, did you have a plan to have him come with you?
No, but Brandon played basketball with us on that night. So me and Zach and Brandon played basketball where President Holmes played basketball at a church. So that was that reference.
Okay. So you thought if we go to the church, Brandon will be there and he can help you
Yeah,
talk about
say
this?
that, yeah.
Okay. But Brandon's not part of this conversation right here, right?
No.
Then does it kind of go back to Charles asking for your information so he can make your flight reservations?
Yes.
Okay. Then at 1:13 p.m., does Charles let you know that your flights are booked and that he emailed that to you?
Mm-hmm.
And then does he go on to say, I'm really uneasy about how she will respond, not only to you, but to me and Zach and Brandon? Right?
Yes.
In talking with Charles and this intervention, was there a constant concern of how she would respond to trying to take away her temple recommend?
Yes.
Was some of that based upon your understanding of the things she had said to Charles in the past?
That and others. Apparently Lori was flighty. When Charles tried to serve her divorce papers, she disappeared and nobody knew where she was. So in Charles's mind that she could
really?
be flighty and just take off again where nobody would know where she is. So there was some definite reference to that as well.
Okay.
What's
Then it
muted,
goes on
Miss
to
King?
say, I'll pick up JJ and take him to school.
Miss King says muted.
So
What's
that's,
muted?
you knew what he was doing that next morning, right?
Can you guys
Yes.
hear the stream? Can you hear him talking? I can hear him talking. What's muted? Can you guys not hear that?
And you said she'll be there, right?
Yes.
Friday the same, so you knew his idea was he was going to be with his son in the mornings, Thursday and Friday?
Yes.
And then you said she'll be highly suspicious about recording. If you can bring a second device and put your phone on the counter or turn it off, it might help.
Yes. I was
Is that
muted.
sort of the same idea that he was unsure that she would trust you showing up there and trying to ask her about those things?
Yes, this was all just like
Okay,
it seemed
good.
like Charles was just desperate and he
hear
wanted
him, but you
to
came on a few
do
minutes
anything
ago.
he
It was
could
muted.
to, this last ditch
I'm
effort to
sorry.
try to shake Lori loose of whatever she was under, some spell that he said. So,
Sorry.
that's basically what happened.
And then does he go on again to talk about that he really thinks the only thing that's going to break her out of this is going to Holmes?
Yeah. Yes.
And that she's hurting too many families and that he's upset his is gone?
Yes.
Does he say that he still loves her?
Yes.
And does
hear
he
you
think
talking
that
with your
she's
baby.
basically potentially gone forever?
Yes.
And then we see that he corrected slots to Lori, right?
Yes.
Typo?
Yes. Lots of typos.
Oops.
On July 10th at 3:34, do you get a text from Charles asking if you're in Phoenix?
Yes.
And do you respond, yes, you're going to Summers, and that you'll call him?
Yes.
And then does Charles let you know he's got a meeting, but he'll try to call you before he goes to see Lowe? Who is Lowe?
Low is Lori.
So people would call her Lo or Lolo.
Yes.
Do you remember if you talked to Charles on the 10th?
On the 10th, what day was that?
The day before, so when you flew in, did you ever talk to Charles?
No, I don't remember talking to him then.
So even though you guys had attempted to call, you don't recall if you ever spoke with him that evening or afternoon?
Right.
Oh, thanks, Shellbell.
So at this point, you'd said you went to Summers in the text messages, and then later you stayed at your parents' for the night.
Yes.
And then you knew that Charles would be going to pick up his son the next morning. Did you assume that you and Charles would meet up or talk sometimes later that day?
I figured so.
Oh,
Okay,
God,
but you
for
had no
sure,
scheduled
Sherry.
timeline for that?
Nothing planned.
Okay. So next, in Exhibit 210, we see text messages from
Tommy.
July 11th of 2019 at 7:35 a.m., where Charles texted you, "Al is here." And then just a couple seconds later, he said, "At Lori's." Was this shocking to you?
Yes.
And what did you respond back? Did you say, "Really, I wonder why he never called me back"?
Yes.
And then we see that you wrote at 7:36 and 28 seconds, "They are planning something." Why did you write that?
Because Alex not answering his phone the whole day and me calling him and texting him, not knowing where he's at. Nobody in my family said they heard from him or knew where he was. All that is very suspicious to me. And then Alex being at Lori's house that morning felt like something was really off.
So when you told Charles they're planning something, Charles responded back, "Absolutely." Did you then let him know that you were supposed to spend the night at Alex's house? She probably blocked that.
Yes.
Did Charles respond to you, "What you do is up to you"?
Yes.
So were you kind of upset at your brother for telling you you could stay with him and then ghosting you, ignoring you?
Yes.
Were you upset at him for being at Lori's house when Charles was going there just to pick up JJ?
Yes.
Did you then text him, "I'm going to put the pressure on to have him come get me right now, see what he says"?
Yes.
Did you in fact text your brother?
Yes.
Did he respond back?
No.
As we're going along here, we see that each of these are being read sort of in this short period of time, these couple minutes that Charles is here as he's driving in. After you texted him about putting the pressure, texted Charles about putting the pressure on to have him come get me right now, did you then say okay to Charles?
Yes.
And then we see again that at 7:49:34 a.m., you texted Charles, "Me and Zach are going to the Stake Center tonight at 8 to play basketball. Holmes is always there, either playing ball or interviewing people. I will try to catch him and have a conversation with my old friend."
Yes.
What was that about?
That was just part of the plan that Charles initially came up with to somehow get in front of the stake president. That night, he's the stake president. He interviews people for Temple Recommends and also plays basketball afterwards. So that was just a thought of maybe this could be something that we could do to help with that situation.
Okay. Now, up until 7:37 and 7, you had been interacting with Charles, right? You would respond and you were getting some text messages back from him.
Yes.
We see after 7:37 where he texts you, what you do is up to you, that he didn't respond back to any of your other comments, right?
Right.
So when you sent him at 7:37 and 29 seconds that you're going to put the pressure on him, you meant Al,
Yes, Alex.
to come get you, Charles didn't respond to that?
No.
And in fact, it shows that that message was read at 12:13 p.m. versus the earlier messages that were read sort of right in time.
Mm-hmm.
Is that yes?
Yes.
And when you told Charles that you and Zach were going to go to the stake center to play basketball and see if you could find homes, did you get a response from Charles?
No.
And again, we see that that was read at 12:13, correct?
Yes.
Did you go talk with Holmes that night?
I went to go play basketball, but he wasn't there.
Was it just you and Zach?
Yes.
During the day of July 11th, at any time, did you learn that Charles Vallow had been shot?
No.
So Lori did not call you and tell you that Charles had been shot?
No.
Alex didn't call you to tell you that he'd shot your brother-in-law?
No.
Anyone in your family talked to you about it?
Nope.
How about the next day, Friday, July 11th? Did Lori tell you Charles had been shot?
No.
Alex contact you to tell you that he'd shot Charles?
No.
Anyone in your family talk to you about that?
No.
Did you decide to go visit a friend in Tucson on Saturday the 13th now?
Yes.
What were you going down there for?
Going to see my friend Eric.
And did anyone come with you?
Yes, Zach did, my son.
Okay. When you went down there, did you talk with Eric about what's going on?
Yeah, I just thought it was really fishy that I heard from Charles. And I didn't know if he took JJ and just was having one-on-one time with JJ. I didn't know if Lori and him were getting back together and Lori told him not to talk to me. Or my mind was spinning. Like I had no clue what was going on.
Had you talked to any of your family about it? Were you still keeping that intervention thing secret from them? At that point?
No, at that point, but I think nobody had heard from, I asked if anybody had heard from Alex, and nobody said that they heard from Alex in my family. But at that point, I was there spending time with my son, Zach, also to help Charles with what he wanted to try to get an intervention with Lori, and also to see my friend Eric, because I live in Wichita, so I was trying to do 3 things at one time on my short visit.
So on the 11th or 12th, though, were you still keeping that sort of secret that you and Charles had been wanting to do an intervention on Lori?
Yes.
You weren't telling your family, like, I don't know why we're not doing this?
Charles asked me not to tell anybody.
And was that actually sort of a message you guys had talked about of who in your family might prevent any type of intervention?
Yes.
And who in your family were you guys concerned with if they learned about the intervention might try to stop it?
Mom and Dad, Summer.
Alex, too?
Alex, yes.
So even though you're here and you're seeing your family and you're seeing your son, you don't want to tell them a lot about Charles because you're trying to still keep that quiet in case he does want to go forward with it.
Exactly, yes.
So you're in Tucson and you start talking to your friend about Charles.
Yes.
Do you learn at some point that Charles has been killed?
Yes, I was talking with Eric saying something doesn't feel right. I haven't heard from Charles, and usually he would text me or send me a message or something. And then Eric asked me, he goes, well, what's his last name? And I said, Vallow. And he was on his computer and he just Googled Charles Vallow. And he said it popped up that he's been killed by his brother-in-law.
So you learn this. What is going through your mind now?
Just everything, chaos. That is not in my stomach. Just probably one of the worst feelings I've ever felt in my life.
Obviously, you had been concerned that something was being planned when you told Charles that on the morning of the 11th, right? But
Well,
not that.
not that, but yeah, it felt like something was off that Alex would be at Lori's house that morning.
Did you know your brother Alex to carry guns with him?
Yes,
Did he regularly go shooting with guns?
yes.
Okay. Prior to Charles being shot and killed, did you ever tell Lori that you were going to be trying to do this intervention with her?
No,
Prior to Charles being shot, did you ever tell Alex, hey, I'm going to stay with you, but we're trying to do an intervention with Lori?
no,
What about your parents? Did you ever tell them you were going to try to do an intervention?
no,
Your sister Summer?
no.
So if your sister told detectives a couple hours after Charles was shot that she was confronting Charles about you and Charles talking and texting, it wasn't something that you told her about?
No.
You told us that you are LDS. Have you ever taught Sunday school?
Yes.
Can you tell us about the story of Nephi?
Nephi? Well, Nephi was a prophet in the Book of Mormon. It's the first chapter. He was a prophet, very humble and faithful servant of the Lord. Ironically enough, his brothers tried to kill him at one point. But he actually ended up going to Jerusalem to get these plates back, and he was run off, came back, and then went back again because the Lord asked him to. And when he did, the King Laban, who was actually a wicked king, was laying on the ground drunk in front of him. And Nephi was told to kill Laban.
Who was he told by?
The spirit, or, yeah,
Okay.
God.
So God was using a Holy Spirit to tell him to kill Laban? And
Yes.
did he?
Yes, he did.
Was that something he anguished over?
Yes.
But ultimately, it was a justified killing.
Yes.
So was the concept that it was better for Nephi to kill this one evil man and sort of benefit the nation and his descendants?
Yes.
Were you aware that that your sister had told people that Charles was possessed by evil spirits?
Yes.
Were you aware that your sister had told people that your brother-in-law Charles was dark?
Objection. Calls for hearsay.
It's whether or not he was aware of it.
Whether or
Yes
not
or
he's
no?
aware, he can answer yes or no.
Yes.
When you and Charles were talking about this intervention, were you trying to help your sister come back to mainstream LDS beliefs?
Yes.
So it wasn't just Charles, but also her.
Yes.
You told us that your friend had Googled and learned that Charles was killed. Did you know at that time it was by your brother Alex?
That's what the article said. So yes, he told me that.
What did you do after you learned that?
Freaked out for a little bit, cried, didn't know what to do. Thought my world was coming apart. Then I got angry a little bit, and then called first thing I did, I called Kay, who's Charles's sister, and asked her, because she's the only one that I felt safe calling after knowing my family was involved in this or thinking of this, that I asked her if she knew that Charles was dead, and she said she just learned of it too.
Did you learn from your friend when, because it's now the 13th when you learned this, right?
Yes.
Did you learn when that happened?
Yes, I did.
So you knew on that Saturday, the 13th, that Charles had been killed that morning
Yes.
of July 11th.
Yes.
Did you ever come back to Phoenix and confront anyone in your family about this or talk to them about it?
Yes. After I talked to Kay, then I called my mom and asked her if she knew that Charles was dead. And she said yes. And I said, what's going on? And she said, you tell me what's going on. And at that point, I thought that was bizarre that she would say that. So I said, well, we need to sit down and talk. And she said, yes, we do. And so me and Zach got in the car and drove back to Phoenix.
Did you go to your mom's house?
Yes, I did.
Did that conversation go well?
No.
Did this create a break in your relationship with your mom?
Yes.
Did you stick up for Charles?
Yes.
Did sticking up for Charles create issues between you and most of your family?
Yes.
Did you continue to stick up for Charles even with that happening?
Yes.
After you had that argument with your mom, what did you do?
Me and Zach left her house and we were staying at Summer's house, my sister, who was away on vacation. And we were staying at her house and we went back to her house. We were watching her dog.
You were supposed to leave the next morning, Sunday, to go back to Wichita. Did you return back home?
Yes, we did.
Did your son go with you this time?
Yes, he did.
After this whole incident happened, did you not talk with your family for a long time?
Yes.
Did it cause a lot of friction in your family?
Yes.
Have you started to try to talk with your family some?
Yes.
I have no other questions, Your Honor.
Cross?
Mr. Cox, how long has it been since we've seen each other in person?
Don't know.
When was the last time you saw me?
I don't recall.
So, has it been a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 6
Something like
years,
that.
7 years, 8 years?
Something?
Okay.
Hey,
So, you have no idea?
Nope.
You have no idea when the last time you saw me in person?
I don't know the year or how many years it's been.
Okay, so did you see me at Colby's wedding in January 2018?
No, I was not there.
You didn't come to Colby's wedding.
No, I did not.
So did you see me sometime that year at my house
Possibly.
where Colby got married? That house,
I did see you at that house, yes.
at least one time.
Yes.
So possibly in 2018.
Yes.
And when was the last time we had any communications?
The last time I remember our communications was you and I were speaking in the kitchen when the family was over.
Okay, so you think that was that time in 2018?
I think so.
I really feel like we should not be privy to this conversation. It's just awkward.
Okay,
Yeah.
and were we eating my green chili chicken enchiladas?
Do not remember that.
You do not remember that?
Nope.
Is that what I made every time we had a family get together, which was like 10 times a year?
I don't remember that.
Okay. And when was the last time that we had a phone call or text message?
I have no idea.
Could it possibly be around that exact same time?
Possibly.
Okay. So that was possibly in early 2018?
Yes.
Okay. Who do you think initiated the final communication in our relationship?
Who concluded it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So right now it's 2025, is that correct?
Yes.
And so we haven't spoken in about 8 years? Would that be correct?
Probably 7 or 8 years.
Okay. So would you say up until that point that how often would we communicate before that?
Before what?
Before 2018?
Probably on a regular basis. Once a month, twice a month, 3 times a month.
Like a call or a text message?
Yes.
Just keeping in touch?
Yes.
You know of us living in Hawaii and you were living in Kansas at the time?
Yes.
And in your career, you lived in lots of different places, is that correct?
Yes.
Austin,
Yes.
Dallas,
Yes.
New York,
Yes.
Wichita,
Yes.
Sacramento.
Yes.
Did I miss anything?
Others.
And I was in Texas,
Yes.
Arizona,
Yes.
Hawaii.
Yes.
So would you say that we were not physically close during the past 20 years?
Yes, I would say that.
So our communication would be solely family get-togethers, occasional text messages. Is that correct?
And phone calls, yes.
Okay. So, Mr. Cox, did you see or hear or personally witness me conspire with my brother Alex Cox to murder my husband Charles Vallow?
Repeat that again?
Okay. Did you see with your eyes or hear with your ears or personally witness me conspire with my brother Alex Cox to murder my husband Charles Vallow?
No.
Thank you. No more questions.
Redirect?
Have you talked to your sister since Charles was shot and killed?
No.
So, since that happened, you cut off all communications with her?
Yes.
Prior to that, you were being asked about 2018 being at Lori and Charles's house. Was that the time where Lori told you she was becoming a celestial being?
Yes.
And the time where she was telling you other ideas that were not in line with the LDS faith?
Yes.
After you had heard those statements by your sister, you told us that she had asked you if you thought she was crazy, right?
Yes.
And you had responded back how?
I don't know if you're crazy, but what you're telling me is not true.
After you told her that her beliefs were not true, did that sort of end your talking with her?
Yes.
Hey, Amy, and welcome to the chat.
You were asked if you personally saw, heard your sister Lori conspire to kill Charles. Were you there that morning?
No.
Were you the person who was supposed to, though, be with Alex on the 10th into the morning of the 11th? You spent the night with him?
If I would have spent the night with him, yes.
So that stood out to you because you had made plans with your brother, right?
Yes.
And instead, you learned he was at Lori's house.
Yes.
You told us that you thought it was odd that your brother would be over at your sister's house at 7:30 in the morning.
Yes.
And you were aware that your brother had guns.
Yes.
Charles was going there to pick up JJ, right?
Yes.
And so, did it seem odd to you that your brother would bring a gun that was loaded with extra magazines that was not safe to your sister's house where JJ was?
Objection, out of scope. This is not just
Goes to
a
the conspiracy.
redirect. This is not just a redirect.
Hey, I didn't ask for argument, okay? The objection's overruled.
What's the question?
Sure. Did it stand out to you that your brother, who knew JJ, would bring a loaded gun and extra ammunition to the house where JJ was running around?
Well,
It
I
wasn't-
didn't know at the time.
Yeah.
You're saying afterwards?
Yeah, you learned afterwards your brother killed him, right?
Yes.
And when we're talking about this conspiracy and things that are going on, did that seem odd to you that your brother would bring a loaded gun and extra ammunition in this unsafe way to a house where
Margaret, I love this judge. Love
your
him.
sister's son, JJ, lived?
Yeah, it seems extreme.
When you were talking to your family after this happened, did you actually tell them that you believed that Lori and Alex had conspired to kill Charles?
Yes.
Why was that?
Because Lori had told people that Charles was no longer living, that some guy named Ned was inside of his body, that there was a zombie living inside of him. And Alex didn't respond to any of my text messages when I was supposed to be with him. And he was at that house that morning. Lori talking crazy about how she's a translated being. All these things all added up into that moment and that morning. Once I found out on Saturday that Charles was shot and killed, no doubt in my mind that they killed him. That's a feeling that I got.
And you told your family that?
Yes.
No other questions?
The last line of questioning from the possession of the gun on, I think the defendant's right, was technically beyond the scope of her cross. So based on that, I'll allow the defendant, if she wants to recross on those issues, if she elects to, may do so now.
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, are there any questions from any member of the jury? Not seeing any, sir, you can step down. You can step down.
Thanks.
State can call its next witness.
Thank you. If I may go get her.
Go ahead.
I don't know. I like the salt and pepper sherry. She enrages me too, honey. That was awkward with the brother. I'm not even going to lie.
Right up here, my clerk will swear you in. You need to stand right here.
Exactly, Gina. Yes, 100%.
Will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
You're going to walk around the court reporter here and have a seat just to my left.
Thank you. Would you please introduce yourself to the jury?
My name is Serena Sharp.
I'm going to have you pull in a little or move the mic down a little closer to you so we can hear you. Thank you. How old are you, Serena?
How old am I? 51.
And where are you living currently? What state, what city?
Arizona, Queen Creek.
Okay. And where did you live back in 2019, 2018?
Connecticut.
Okay. When did you move to Arizona?
It was right before COVID, so 2019.
Do you recall, I know we don't have a lot of weather here, but summer, winter, fall?
Definitely summer. It was hot. I think it was end of July, August, but we closed on our house September.
Are you a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints?
Yes.
Were you raised in this church?
Yes.
Do you consider yourself a spiritual person?
Yes.
I want to talk to you about a group, Preparing the People. Have you ever attended any of their events?
Yes, two.
Can you tell us what those are?
They were conferences that helped people prepare physically and spiritually for emergency preparedness and the second coming of the Lord.
And you said you attended a couple of those conferences?
Yes.
Are they located sort of around the country?
Yes.
Did you ever attend one of those conferences here in Arizona?
I did.
Do you recall when that was?
It was November of 2018.
When you decided to come to this conference in November of 2018, did you know anyone here?
Two people, one just from over the phone conversations, Melanie Gibb and Jason Mao.
So did you have any place to stay when you came here? What was your thoughts as you're coming in for this conference?
Both of them invited me to stay at their homes.
And what was your plan? Who did you think you were going to stay with?
I thought I was going to stay with Melanie Gibb because she offered to pick me up at the airport as well, so that I didn't need to rent a car.
Did you know Arizona well in,
Not at all. No.
so were you picked up by Melanie Gibb?
Yes.
And did you stay at her house?
No.
Where did you stay?
After she picked me up, she said that instead of her house, because her whole family was home and it was busy and chaotic, we were going to stay at her friend's house, whose family was gone for the weekend and had a bunch of people for the conference staying there.
Okay. Who was that?
That was Lori.
Did you know her last name, or did you learn it?
I learned it when I got there. I had never heard or had met her before.
What was her last name?
Vallow?
Okay. So you told us you didn't know Lori Vallow prior to just coming to stay at her house.
No.
Do you see her in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Can you point her out and tell us what she's wearing?
She's right there with glasses on and blonde hair and a black jacket.
Your Honor, may the record reflect the witness has identified the defendant.
It shall.
Do you recall who else was staying at Lori's house that weekend?
There was a lot of people, and I was meeting everybody for the first time, so I don't recall everybody, but I do know Lori was there and Melanie was there.
Did you ever meet Chad Daybell?
Yes, he was there as well.
Was that the first time you met him?
Yes.
So during this event, are you going between Lori's home and to a location where the conference is at?
Correct.
Okay. And did you ever talk with Chad Daybell outside of, well, did you ever talk with him that weekend?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever talk with him after that November 2018 conference here in Arizona?
Yes.
When else did you see or talk with him?
I saw him at another Preparing a People conference in February.
So that's 2019 now?
Yes.
After the November one.
Correct.
Where was that one?
That was in Idaho.
And did you ever contemplate moving to Idaho?
Yes.
Did you ever meet with him in Idaho to, well, did you learn he lived there?
Yeah. When did I learn?
Did you learn that he lived in Idaho?
Yes.
And did you ever, in fact, meet with him in Idaho to kind of talk about possibly moving there?
Yes, I was actually house hunting with a realtor and in the city that he lived, so we connected for a few minutes.
What city was that?
Rexburg?
Okay. Did you know if Chad was married at that time?
Yes.
Okay. When you were staying at Lori's house in Phoenix in November of 2018, did you understand her to be married?
Yes.
At that time, did you have any idea that Lori and Chad were having an affair?
No idea.
After you met Lori at this and stayed at her house, did you have any more conversations with her, texts or phone calls?
Yes.
Were you ever invited back out to Arizona?
Yes.
When was that?
That was in March of 2019 for Girls Weekend.
What was the girls' weekend going to be?
It was a few girls coming together for a Girls Weekend, so.
Whose house, where was it going to be?
That was at Zulema's house, and I think from my memory, she's the one who invited me and started that Girls Weekend idea.
Had you met Zulema before?
Yes.
Where had you met her?
It's vague, but I think I met her at the first Preparing a People conference I came to, which was the November 2018 here in Arizona.
Okay. And had you talked with her as well between that November time and when you came out in March?
Yes.
Who else was part of this Girls Weekend that you recall?
It was Lori and Melanie Gibb, Sulema, Christina, Nicole, and myself. I think that's it.
Now, were all of you women members of the LDS Church?
Yes.
During this time, did Lori ever tell you things about her beliefs that seemed to go against what you understood or what you were taught through the LDS Church?
Yes.
Did Lori ever tell you that she did not need to repent?
Yes, she did.
What does repenting mean?
Repenting means turning to God and confessing our sins and repairing our relationship with Him so that He can take on our sins for us and we can become better people through Him and seek His forgiveness.
Do you recall what Lori told you about not needing to repent anymore?
What I remember is she's had a couple of verses in the Bible that she pulled out and read and then said, I believe something to the effect of, I believe we don't need to repent anymore.
Did that stand out to you?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Was that
That was
concerning
shocking.
to you?
Pardon?
Was that concerning to you?
Very.
I think you just said you were shocked by it.
Yes.
It was that against your religion.
Correct.
Did she ever express to you and this group that all of you might not need to repent?
I don't remember the specifics of it. If she was trying to apply that to us or just to her, I don't remember. I just remember she said we, or generally, I don't remember the specific words she used, but that there was not a need for repentance anymore.
Do you recall, have you been interviewed by the police a couple different times?
Yes.
Do you recall being interviewed in April of 2021?
Was that was the Chandler Police
At the
Department?
police department instead of at your home? Do you recall saying to the detectives then that she said, we don't need to repent anymore, we've come to that stage? And then you were asked when she said we, was she talking about like her and Chad or all you guys? And you said she was trying to get all of us to believe that.
Mm-hmm.
You recall saying that?
I don't recall saying that, but if that's in the transcripts, that was much closer to the time when it was said. It's been a few years. I don't remember exactly what was said anymore.
So your memory back then would have been better than now?
For sure.
So if you had told the police back then that she was trying to, in fact, tell everyone that you could follow along with this belief of not repenting, you would have been truthful to the police back then?
Of course, yes.
Do you recall Lori ever talking to you about people having dark and light levels assigned to them?
Yes, I do.
And do you recall Lori ever talking about not needing to repent because she was translated?
I don't remember her using that specific word, but not trying to.
What do you recall her saying with regards to that?
I remember her talking about changing physically and spiritually. Those are the two I remember.
And by changing physically, what What do you recall of that?
Just being filled with more light and knowledge so that we could become closer to God.
So is that sort of the same as when we're talking about being translated?
Yes.
Okay.
I just don't remember her saying that specific word.
Okay. So the concept was the same, whether or not she said that word, you don't recall now.
Correct.
Did Lori ever talk to you, either that weekend or prior to that, about casting?
Yes.
Do you recall if Lori was the person who brought up casting?
I believe she was, from my memory.
Do you recall if she talked to you about casting on more than one occasion?
Yes.
Now, how many times do you recall that she had brought this up?
I don't know how many times.
It was more than once?
Yes, it's more than once.
Did she ever bring it up while you were talking or Zoom talking like we used to do in the pandemic?
I never Zoom called with her. I don't.
Phone call?
Phone calls? Yes.
So at least one phone call you recall that she brought up casting?
But I remember one phone call. There might have been others. I just don't remember.
So was that phone call, to the best of your memory, before this girls' weekend in March of 2019?
From my memory, I think it was after.
Okay.
But
So then let's talk about the weekend of March, the girls' weekend in March of 2019.
okay.
Did Lori bring up casting there?
Yes, she did.
And the other time when Lori had talked about casting, whether it was before or after, was this to sort of cleanse society, sort of a generic, I don't want to say generic, but to try to cleanse evil from an area or a population, not a specific person?
Yes, it was like generally a cleanse or casting out evil.
Have you on your own sort of prayed to get rid of evil?
Yes, I have.
Is that sort of a personal casting that you've done? If we want to term it that way.
Yeah, I wouldn't term it that way, but yes.
Okay. Would you just term it as you're praying for the better of the world?
Praying and or casting out evil, yes, in the name of Jesus Christ.
But you said you had never used casting as a term before.
No.
Okay. So Lori was the one using this word casting?
I don't recall her using that word. I think she was also saying casting out from my memory.
So casting out. When you met up on this girls'
I'm
weekend.
sorry, was the last answer a yes?
This was the first, I guess, Lori was the one using the term casting out.
Yes.
Okay. On this March girls' weekend trip, do you recall having Lori ask everyone to help cast out as to a specific person?
Yes.
Can you tell us who that was?
It was her husband, Charles.
Had you ever met Charles before?
Vague memory, but it was a quick, I think, meet as I was leaving Arizona for the Preparing a People conference in November. I was going to the airport and I think he was coming in at the same time. Again, it was pretty chaotic.
Yeah.
But I think that's when we met very briefly.
So he was kind of coming home and you were leaving.
Yes.
Okay. Did this seem unusual to you to do this, to be asked to cast out as to a specific person?
Yes. But not Did you say unusual?
Yeah, did it stand out to you, her asking you to cast out as to her husband?
Yes, it stood out to me.
During this weekend, did Lori talk to you about her husband, Charles Vallow, being possessed?
Yes, she did.
What do you recall about her talking about her husband being possessed?
I recall that she spoke about her husband being possessed by an evil spirit, and she named the evil spirit.
Do you recall what the name was?
Yes,
What was it?
it was Ned,
N-E-D? Ned?
N-E-D.
When you heard this, did that stand out to you as well?
Very much, yes. Very unusual.
Are you someone who questions things, or
Yeah.
do you just go with the flow?
I question things.
So you're hearing these things from Lori that are standing out to you, some of them very against your religious beliefs. Are you starting to ask about some of these things?
Yes. I remember I was asking a lot of questions about the repentance thing she brought up. And I remember asking and talking to some of the other ladies about the casting out in a group setting before, or stuff like that.
Do you recall Lori Vallow telling you that her husband Charles was no longer Charles, that he was now this possessed person?
Yes.
When Lori was talking to you about Ned, was she explaining that this evil spirit was now in the body of her husband?
I don't know if she used those exact terms, but that was the impression I got, yes.
So the word she used expressed to you that idea that this evil spirit Ned was now in her husband's body.
Yes.
So did you ever hear Lori use the term zombie?
I did.
Is that another thing that kind of stuck out to you?
Very much.
In listening to Lori, did zombie sort of come to, did you understand that to mean someone whose body was possessed by an evil spirit?
Prior to this, I thought zombie was like a Hollywood thing, but she tried to relate the zombie and correlate that to the evil spirit that was inside of somebody.
Like her husband?
Like her husband, yes.
Did you ever start to question Lori about zombies and these evil spirits inhabiting her husband's body? Did you try to question her about that?
I don't recall specifically.
Okay. When you started questioning her, at least about repenting that you recall, did you see a difference in how you were treated?
Soon after that girls' weekend, yes.
So let's talk about the group casting. What happened? What did you guys do for this group casting for her husband, Charles?
All the ladies came together and we were all in the same room just talking, and I remember coming together. I don't remember if we were standing or sitting, but I remember Lori started and asked for this help for her husband because she needed to cast out this evil spirit. And she asked to just go around the room and each of us take turns casting out to see if we could get rid of this evil spirit within him.
Ned.
Ned.
And this was the first time you'd ever had anyone ask you to be part of some group to cast out,
Yes.
and a group to cast out a evil spirit as to a specific person.
I've never done that in a group setting before. Never even heard of that before.
After this weekend, let me ask you, how many days do you recall that you were here?
For which?
That March?
That March?
Yeah,
Just a couple days. I don't recall how many. Just a couple days, though.
okay. So
Like a weekend, maybe?
just the weekend type of thing.
Approximately.
During that time, do you recall just the one evening where Lori had asked you and the other women to cast out this evil spirit and her husband? Was there just one incident that weekend that you recall?
One incident. I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Over the March Girls Weekend, was there just the one time where Lori asked the group to cast out Ned from her husband?
From my memory, yes, I think so.
Had you heard on, though, more than one occasion, Lori saying that her husband was possessed?
More than one occasion on that weekend, or like,
Or either that weekend, or had you previously heard that?
I don't recall previously hearing that. And I don't remember hearing it after how many times she said that.
Was it discussed throughout the weekend?
I believe so.
Let's go ahead and recess for lunch. We'll resume at 1:30 p.m. I'll tell the jurors to remember the admonition.
All rise for the jury. So you spent your whole date getting to know each other, talking about me.
Don't flatter yourself. No, we did not spend the whole time talking about you.
Things are getting spicy in the trial of Lori Vallow Daybell in Maricopa County, Arizona, as she tries to defend herself against charges that she conspired with her brother, Alex Cox, to murder her estranged husband, Charles Vallow. Good afternoon. I'm Anjanette Levy, and you are watching us live during our lunch show Q&A here during the trial
Hey
of Lori
guys, hold
Vallow
on just a
Daybell. We are
second.
taking your questions.
Hold on just a second. Husband is getting ready to leave, and I have to talk to him real quick before he heads out the door. But hold on, I missed what they said there at the very end. I'm assuming they're going to lunch, right? Yeah. Yeah. They're going to lunch. So this is going to be where we're going to end for the day, but give me just a second. Hold on just a minute. Okay, you guys, sorry about that. Sorry about that. Thank you, Margaret. You're awesome sauce, ma'am. You are awesome sauce. Yeah, they'll be on lunch for probably about an hour, 10 minutes. Or did he tell him to be back at 1:30? Not sure. Not sure. But we're going to go ahead and end for today. And yeah, I'm going to scooch. Scoochy, scooch, scooch. So 1:30, yeah. They usually do 1:30 back from lunch. But what we've been doing is playing the last half of the day before. So we've been splitting the days because East Coast time, right? They end up not finishing until way later for me, like long after dinner time. So, but I am going to go and, yeah, husband had to leave and I was telling him some stuff to grab from town real quick. But, yeah, I'll see you guys back tomorrow tomorrow's Friday. We'll see you back tomorrow about the same time. And yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Good to see you all today. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thank you for hanging out with me. All right, make sure to hit the thumbs up before you leave. We'll be back tomorrow for the rest of today and the beginning of tomorrow's trial. So, you guys have a great rest of your night. Put a hashtag replay in the comments down below if you watch this on the replay. And if you're new here, I would love for you to subscribe. Click that notification bell. All those things. Okay. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.